Come on. I've thought it all out. It just wouldn't work. Beautiful. Lovable. Kiss. It just isn't done that well. The son of the queen. The left hand. Can you like going? Yes, those poor people. Well, now because I'm from. Can you like going? Yeah, I guess so. And down. That's me too. And down. The left hand. Isn't me? And down. The left hand. Oh, that's me too. And down. The left hand. Isn't me? Come on. Don't overdo it. Oh, that's me. I guess that is a thunder. Oh, that's me. There'll be a scene. Oh, that's me. I guess that is a thunder. Oh, that's me. There'll be a scene. Oh, that's us. Oh, that's me. I guess that is a thunder. Oh, that's me. There'll be a scene. Oh, that's me. Oh, that's me. I guess that is a thunder. The son of the queen, the left hand. Can you like going? I'd like to kiss. And now it's beginning. I'm from. Can you like going? Yeah, I guess so. And down. That's me too. The left hand. Oh, that's me too. The left hand. Love you more than life itself. Oh, that's me. I guess that is a thunder. Oh, that's me. There'll be a scene. Oh, that's me. I guess I'd like to kiss thunder. Oh, that's me. There'll be a scene. Oh, that's us. Oh, that's me. I guess that is a thunder. Oh, that's me. There'll be a scene. Oh, that's me. I guess that is a thunder. Get excited. Here we go. Come on now, man. I'm wishing I really there. We are standing by, hope is you there. I'm wishing I really there. We are standing by, hope is you there. It does work. It works. I'm turning the beats down, guys. All right. What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? I think. Yeah, here we go. We're gonna go here. Cool. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Organic chemistry. Yeah. So, these beats are all by an artist named Pogo, and all of these songs that are in this playlist are all from Disney movies. So yeah, these are all remixed Disney tunes. So I contacted him a while ago. I love his music, and I wanted to use his songs mostly just in the streams. Um, so now that I have that, we're actually gonna sadly we're gonna shut that music off. So I'm trying some new stuff. So I don't want. There we go. All right, cool. All right, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing tonight on Friday? What I'm gonna now I will I gotta get back to I gotta get back to it here. So let me do we're gonna do I want that? I think so. Sorry for not streaming last week, guys. I had some stuff come up. And there we go. Had some stuff, so unfortunately was not able to stream last week. Okay, so before we get into Lorcana, there's a couple things that I wanted to talk about after I switch. Okay, cool. So for those of you who are Magic the Gathering players or pay attention to what's going on in Magic the Gathering, so you all know, well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. There's a secret layer. And I gotta find the correct thing. Okay, so I was on Twitter, and they have secret layers like all the time. If you're not familiar with secret layers, basically what they are, we're gonna pull up chat here. We're gonna put the chat overlay on. I am sorry. Organic chemistry. Looking to listen to your stream while recovering from my wisdom teeth being pulled. LOL, but doing great. Hey, you're doing great. That's awesome. Good luck on that recovery. It's been a while since I had my wisdom teeth out. My wife's cousin actually just had that out not that long ago. So that can be a long road to recovery. Anyway, so so this secret layer, they're basically alternate arts, right? And they get I think what a lot of times they do is they'll get artists that don't normally do magic art, but I mean now they have like, I don't know, at least 10 secret layer drops a year, and that's like on the super low side. Anyway, there's this new secret layer all about snakes. It's called like just snakes, right? And so I saw this tweet from Wizards. Let me see if I can actually just pull it up real quick. All right, here. And then basically what I'm going to do. And I'm like, wait a second. This is not right. Cause I know I saw this tweet elsewhere. Or excuse me, the art. Okay. And so I'm like, wait a minute. I've seen this before. I'm not gonna if you don't know, you can pull up, you can look later. Okay. But
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing, guys. Holy cow. I'm zooming in. I'm zooming in on my screen, and I'm actually zooming in on the wrong screen. There we go. So I saw the artwork for this particular card, and I'm like, something's missing. Something's missing. I know because I've seen it before. I'm not going to show you the original art, but what they said, they were like, the initial image for Stone Cold Serpent in the Snakes drop had an error that is not reflective of the final product. This has been updated on our website to correct this. Customers who purchase the drop will be notified directly as well. So to me, I'm like, hang on. Since when do they even like fix art for stuff like this? They only did that like early 90s, with the pentagrams and stuff. I'm like, do they still actually do that? So I'm interested. I'm interested to know why they changed the art. But I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm interested and I'm curious. That's it. I'm just interested and curious. So yeah. I thought that was kind of funny. So all right. Now the other thing, so before we get anybody in here, I have to figure out, can I actually we're gonna delete this. So before as I was on my way home, as I was on my way home, Disney Lorcana put out a tweet. Okay. They tweeted from the Nuremberg International Toy Fair. I think, chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And I know when people get in here, they'll probably tell me. I don't know if that was just a 2-day event, or if this is like an all weekend type of fair. I don't know. But this is where we found the Aurora card reveal. At least initially. I know comicbook.com came out with an official spoiler, if you will. So they're currently at this toy fair. So I don't know if it's going on all weekend or not. I would assume so, but I just don't know. Not totally sure. But they put out this tweet from the creative director. I think it's Shane is his name. So I'm gonna pull this up here. Okay, and we're gonna watch this together. Okay. It's this one. Okay. So I need to see. I'm gonna see if you guys can actually hear this.
Hello.
All right. So hang on one second. We're gonna do that. All right, I'm gonna turn it up, and then
Hello, Illumineers. We are at Toy Fair Nuremberg. This is the booth for Lorcana here at the Roundtable booth. As you can see, I'll give you a little tour. So I'm Shane Hartley. I'm the
Hi, Shane.
director for Lorcana.
How are you?
And I am here to present you the Illuminary. This is Lorcana. We are presenting.
Okay. No, I'm pretty sure we knew all of this. Now, I think all this product is all mock-ups. It's basically what the product's gonna look like. Unless they do so many final tweaks to it. But all this is cool. All this looks really interesting. But there's some other stuff that I noticed.
Packaging it for you. We've got the starters, the gift set. We've got the displays.
Honestly, though, this looks this looks big. That I can't remember what the name of the product is, but it looks hefty. It looks like a decent size product. You guys tell me what you think.
The trove. Booster sleeve.
Okay, so we've already got it. Now I'm interested. Why is this stuff over here blurred out? I'm wondering if it's just not theirs and they just can't show it. That would make the most sense to me because it's not directly in their booth. That makes the most sense to me, but I don't know.
It's the 24 count display. And here at the ink casting station, you'll be able to see how a glimmer of a character is brought out of the pages of the book. We use Ursula's pen to take away your voice after you sign your NDA.
Ah, so that's what he said. Use Ursula's pen to take away your voice after signing the NDAs. That's funny. How much you want to bet they had to sign a bunch of NDAs too? I wonder how many when they go to these fairs, the vendors, I wonder if they all have to sign NDAs for other vendors to see for the stuff that they see. I'd be interested to know that because because we're gonna see this here in a second.
Here we have this amazing opportunity to be able to take a photo with you and Mickey.
There it is again.
So
it was on the left
this
side.
is just a small sneak peek
So
of
this
what
is
we've
what I
got here.
saw. This is what I saw. I just saw that all this was blurred out from before. I don't know if that's their booth or not. That now, because initially I thought I'm like they're hiding more stuff, but I don't know if they're actually hiding their stuff or if they're hiding somebody else's stuff.
Of course, we're going to be doing some awesome stuff throughout the year. We've got the release coming in August, so we're all pretty stoked. But wanted to show you guys here a sneak peek for what we're showing at the booth here. Thanks a lot.
All right, so that's cool.
Hello.
Sorry. So, what do you all think? I think, excuse me. I think it makes sense because initially, I thought I'm like, oh, dude, they're hiding more stuff, but I doubt the stuff they were hiding was theirs. So, but you guys, let me know what you think now. Okay. The other thing I want a Ravensburger snap back so bad. Yeah. Okay, I've got stuff to open and I'll probably do that later. Okay. So I have some Alpha Clash product. They were so Ridge was kind enough to send us some product to open. So I got this stuff in the mail. He sent us some hats. So Ridge, we just had Ridge, the founder of Rising Empire Studios and the Alpha Clash card game, on our podcast this week. So he sent us some stuff. I've got some other stuff I want to open. I'll probably do that towards the end of the stream. Yeah, organic chemistry. Yeah, that's what I think happened too. I think that they just don't have the right to show other business. That makes the most sense to me. I think. But again, okay, guys, I watched that video on my way home as I was driving. Don't tell anybody, okay? So I wasn't really paying that close attention. All my attention was on the road. Okay? So I didn't have all my attention on the stuff I wasn't supposed to be looking at, okay? That was why I wanted to go over it. So, the last thing, that's not it. Here it is. Okay. Now, for the most part, we've all, maybe not a lot of folks, a lot of us. I was in the B Squared. I was in the Dairy Queen drive-thru. I wasn't in a drive-thru. That's the thing. I was somewhere where I should have been driving and giving my entire attention to the thing that I was doing. So yeah, however, this is the other thing we're going to talk about it. All right. So I love the card. Okay. So before everybody gets in here, as I was recording my video, which if you head over to the YouTube channel, you can listen to my thoughts. Okay. One of the things that I literally just noticed this. Okay. And I know other people have noticed this before, and I cut it from my video, because in the video, what I said was all the Floodborn so far, and I literally just noticed this. Okay. The line where their subtypes are, or the creature types, whatever they're going to be officially called. Okay. This line right here, it's like got a splotch of ink, and everything that's not Floodborn, it's basically a solid straight line. So the Dreamborn, the Storyborn, the other Borns, right? It's just a solid straight line. But the Floodborn, it looks like somebody took a paintbrush and wiped over it. Okay. And so I'm like, oh, that looks kind of cool. Like, I thought it was just like a visual thing. Okay. But as I'm going through this card, I'm like, holy cow, this clearly means something. So I spent like 5 to 6 minutes on it in the video, but then I cut it, because one of the things I said in the video was I'm like, I feel like an idiot because I'm just noticing this. Okay. I'm literally just noticing it. I'm like, I guarantee you there's been plenty of other people who have noticed that and said something. So I'm just going to completely cut it from the video and then just make the video just about Aurora and my thoughts on Aurora. So that's what I did. And everyone who comes in here is probably going to be like, yeah, it's a good thing you cut it, Dan, because we all noticed that already. So yeah, Jonty's going to come in here and tell me tell me that I was right. Isn't that right, Jonty?
Oh, it's a good thing you cut it down, because we'd all noticed that already.
I know. And
How's it going,
that's literally what I said. I'm like,
So
again,
sorry, I was half reading Twitter and half listening. The fact that it's like a black splodgy line is what you
yes,
pull up on. Yeah. So,
correct.
but you're right. That looks like that's a Floodborne thing. But yeah, that's like the Stitch from the original video looks like that as well. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But I
So
think some people were saying that the artwork behind the writing is a bit more fancy on her. Like there's a bit more like color and stuff going on. But I'm super colorblind, so I some of that gets a bit lost
oh,
on me. I think
I got you.
maybe other people who are joining us might be able to jump in on that. But how's it going anyway, pal? You had a good week.
Yes, yeah. It's been a crazy. It's been a busy week.
It's not quite been it's not quite been like IGN release week.
No,
It just
no, but it's
getting
been good. Yeah. So for me, I've been getting out of I've been like sending out a ton of emails, and so it's been nice for me just communicating with people, not necessarily even within the Lorcana community, but just like for hobbies and happiness and stuff. You know, like we had our interview with Ridge for this Alpha Clash card game is a lot of fun.
That's
Just
awesome.
just getting to meet all these other people in this space has been fun, and it's been nice because I've just done it. I've just, instead of sitting and being like, what are people going to say? I'm just sending them an email and just starting a communication.
The worst that happens is you don't get a reply, right?
Exactly.
Or you
Exactly.
get a thanks but no thanks, and
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
we're big enough and ugly enough to not let that bother us, right?
Exactly. So, so Liam, I'm going to get Liam in here in a second, but he said the line is missing around the ink symbol too. Yes. So one of the things that I noticed initially when they came out with the D23 cards was, I think it was Stitch was the first, Amber one. He didn't have the line around the symbol, right? And so it got a lot of people upset, like, for lack of a better word, because they're trying to download all the images, right, for assets. And so I remember when I did my color video, I had to Photoshop in the line just for my own artwork.
I did the same for my
for the thumbnail, right? So I'm like, that had to have been an oversight. But then you saw Hades, same thing. Yeah. And now we see Aurora, the exact same thing.
So that's what the Floodborne looks like, right? Like looks like that's how that's gonna be, yeah.
And so it's interesting. It's for me, I've always been the type of person, gamer, right, who I mostly care about the gameplay, right? That's normally the reason I get into games and stuff. And so I normally don't really care about the lore and the backstory. But I don't know, like, for me, being a Disney kid and just growing up, like, having that IP just be such an integral part of my childhood is part, I think it's part of the reason, like, for me, I'm just super intrigued and super interested about what they're going to do to change this up a little bit. And it looks like so far that that's going to be their Floodborne part. And that's
how they're going to, break away from just just like the stuff that we expected. I don't know if you guys, I think we might mention this last time we were on, but I don't know if you've ever played Mirrorverse.
Yes.
But that's kind of what they do there, is like it's not the actual characters, it's these sort of like reimagined characters, and they're able to sort of stretch them out a bit. So there's a Sully from Monsters Inc., but he's got all like armor on and stuff, and the Captain Jack Sparrow's got skeletal hands and stuff, and that I definitely think is something you can look at to see where they're going to go with Lorcana, because it's that idea of these aren't the actual characters, they're sort of like magical recreations of them. But then also, like, from a mechanical standpoint, from a technical standpoint, that's what Disney are happy with, right? Like, Disney have signed off on that kind of thing, and that's kind of what that's about as far as you'll probably see the art go in Lorcana.
Right. All right, so I want to bring Liam in here and get his take for a little bit. Liam, what's up, bud?
Hey, evening. I'm doing all right. I apologize for my audio this evening. I'm away from my normal setup. I'm in the great freeze of Austin, Texas. So I'm remote at my in-laws' house while I'm out of power.
How cold is it down there, Liam?
Well, there's cold and then there's Texas cold.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
So for people like Jonty up in Canada, dropping into to 31 degrees doesn't sound too bad, but down here, that's a major emotional event.
31 Fahrenheit?
That's it.
Yeah. Everything froze and the power went out, and
John. So
couldn't
John,
go to work. And
I'm just outside Chicago, right? And this week has been, it's been like there's been a low of like -10 for a couple days.
Yeah.
So I'm in the construction industry. All my jobs are shut down just because right in this weather or this time of year, it's mostly concrete, and nobody's pouring concrete in this type of weather because the suppliers aren't going to guarantee their concrete because of how cold it is.
Wow.
So 31, like, all right, we're gonna go out and do all we can at 31 degrees.
Yeah, 31. I have to constantly do the mental math because both in Britain and Canada we use Celsius. So I'm constantly having to go, but I think it's about 5 Fahrenheit here at the moment, so not
9/5 C plus 32.
That's the one, yeah, 9/5. And off the top of my head, I'm pulling those numbers out.
I appreciate the sympathy I'm getting in the chat, by the way. Thanks to all.
Yeah. Organic chemistry. Let's see what he says. What does he say? As someone who used to live in Texas after moving from Wisconsin, all right, I can concur that Texans don't handle temps below 70 degrees. Oh, that's great. But that's also going from Wisconsin down to Texas. That's pretty big too. So, okay, Liam, what was your was I right for not talking about the Floodborne thing?
I mean,
you notice it, right?
Well, sure. Yeah, I mean, of course. Elsa, well, we're into the art.
Right.
Stared at the cards a while. And,
right.
Aurora was somebody that we devoted a significant amount of time to recently in our video. So when the card was revealed, we, of course, dug into the details immediately. So,
right.
Yeah. I won't say we didn't notice.
But it's kind of like all we can do right now, right? Is like fine tooth comb all of this stuff. Like you showed that video before of the Ravensburger of the guy walking around the stand, and you know that most people watch that video like this. Yet all of us were going,
yeah, right,
like looking past that guy through his legs,
right?
So about that, I think the faded out background. That's purely like they don't want to show off other people's stores. I don't think it's necessarily like an NDA thing. I think it's just a courtesy thing, honestly.
Courtesy thing,
yeah. I go to quite a few of these fairs. I was at one last week. I'm at another one next week. And for the most part, like on the floor, you're not really dealing with NDAs or anything like that. What I imagine most of the NDAs, what it'll be is usually those booths, it's all sort of public information in as much as if you're attending, you can go and see it. But then they will have reps who are able to take you to one side. Very often outside of the larger rooms, they'll have like smaller satellite rooms and you'll be able to go into one of those and you'll be there. And that's where you get sort of shown the leaflets and shown the PowerPoints and stuff. And that's the stuff that's usually under NDA. And usually those things are planned ahead of time or books ahead of time, depending on sort of who you are,
Right. All right, let's get Lee Barbs in here. Lee, what's up, man? How you doing tonight, Lee?
How's it going, gentlemen?
Pretty good. What was your thought on and we'll you know what, we'll wait to talk about Aurora here in a second, but when did you see that video? Did you see it before I played it here on stream?
Yeah, I had watched it while I was supposed to be cooking food at work earlier today.
Hey, you know what is better than when I was supposed to be driving?
Cooking. We're going to be having fires. We're going to be having car accidents.
I actually had to put a fire out at work the other day. One of my ovens caught on fire, and I had to grab the fire blanket. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
yeah, exciting stuff.
Wow, look at you.
And also, 31 degrees is barbecue weather from somebody in northern Michigan.
I love it. All right,
it's an infrastructure problem.
It's true.
It is. Like, do you guys, do they even have snow trucks, plows like at the ready to go?
I can't imagine.
In Texas?
At the ready, we don't even have them.
Oh, right.
They don't have them
exist.
at all. Yeah. Yeah, my wife has family who live in Texas, and we'd visit there like over the summer. And one of the things is they like, do you guys do you have basements down by where you are or not really?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not very common down in Texas due to a couple of reasons. I think the biggest is the bedrock is pretty shallow, and then it's also like the type of soils that are down there aren't they're very frost susceptible. And then there's quite a few other things, but in any case,
But
so
ask
yeah.
us about our air conditioning.
What about your air conditioning?
It's
Love it.
incredible, I imagine.
Yeah.
It's the best,
Yeah.
best in the world.
Yeah. All right, let's bring in Sneaky here. So let's see. There he is. What's up, Sneaky? How you doing tonight?
Doing well. I got a camera working this time. Let's see if
All
see if I don't lag out like crazy. I actually want to
Beautiful
hop in.
face.
I know, right? I actually want to hop in on the weather talk because I'm from Louisiana, and so I feel all of Liam's pain with the quote unquote cold. But I will say that I lived in Chicago for 2 years. I love that city. It's amazing. I don't know how anyone
I
lives
hate it.
there. It's the weather. I couldn't do it. I would have stayed if it wasn't for the weather. Absolutely. It's too much.
So
too
I
much.
went to when I was in college. I went to college downtown. Okay, and I lived in the city while I was going to school. Okay, and so in the winter, depending on who you are, depending on the temperature
we
outside,
go.
31 degrees, everybody's outside walking around wearing shorts. We're all wearing shorts going to class. Okay, it's 31 degrees ain't bad, right? But I've lived in the city. I don't ever want to do it again. I'm out in the suburbs now. I do not want to go to the city anymore. I've had my fair share, and I'm done. I like my suburban house now. I'm good.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, for what it's worth, like my first time moving there, it was my first time out of the South. Like I'd never been anywhere north of Texas, Florida, or Louisiana.
Yeah.
It was like 2004, and it was like the first time I'd ever heard the term Arctic vortex. And it was record-breaking colds in Chicago. This like young kid
What
straight
year
out of
was it?
Louisiana. 2000.
What year was it?
2000. Oh, not 4. Let me see. I was 22, so that would have been 2012.
Okay, I remember 2012 because I remember I graduated from college in 2013. 2012 was a very, very bad polar vortex. I remember that very well.
Yeah, it was brutal.
It was. It was.
And the term you were looking for in terms of the basement situation was a water table. And here in Louisiana, our water table starts at about 18 inches. So I could go dig a hole in my yard with my hand and hit water. That's why we don't have basements.
Water tables are easier to deal with. So
crazy.
part of what my job is actually evaluating foundations.
Nice.
Yeah, depending on where
You'd never have guessed.
Yeah, right.
It's not just a hobby, like a fan of
pulling all of that
this
info
kind of
out of
thing.
the air.
Yeah.
I read. That was the random Wikipedia page today. Skimmed it.
I went on a rabbit hole about foundations.
You know how it goes.
That's funny.
All right. So, I hit stop. That's actually not what I wanted to do. All right. So we're gonna pull up Aurora here. All right. So, Jonty, it was funny because I was watching your video, right? And so I got to the part where editor Jonty here. Now I can see.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
If
you're not first, you're last, right? But that's
right.
The big worry is that if you go bolt out the gate too early,
right,
you end up missing something. Yeah.
B squared. Yes. My degree is in civil engineering. So yes. And thank you. Yes, Liam, I am very civil. Thank you. All right, Jonty, what's your initial now the thing so when I even did my video, right? I can't remember who made the point of saying we only know right now like less than 7% of the entire card pool. So when we're all evaluating these cards, it's very difficult to evaluate them like in their entirety. We can only evaluate it by just looking at its face.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone keep that in mind, like chat, just everybody keep that in mind as everyone is trying to do their best to evaluate it, which is even why I've typically tried to not quote unquote evaluate it. I'll just be like, here's what I see, because it's to me it's super difficult to evaluate it as a whole. Maybe we can partially evaluate it, right? But Jonty, like what do you see? What do you see when you look at this?
Yeah, you're right. It's tricky, right? Because like Shift, for instance, like if there's no other Aurora cards in the set, Shift is terrible.
Right.
So until we have an idea of how many Auroras there are,
Right.
we don't know that. But I think you can have a pretty good guess that like a board wide protection,
Yes.
this can't be
Correct.
not good. But yeah, you're right. Comparatively, there could be stuff that's way better, right? But yeah, like
Right.
it feels to me like I compare it to Magic because that's my game,
Same.
and it's
Right.
very similar to. There's an angel that gives everything hexproof, and I forget.
If you watch my video,
Sanea?
if you watch my video, you would have known it was Shalai, Voice of Plenty.
Shall
But
I?
yes.
100% watched your video.
Yeah.
I'm just not good with names, but the angel that gives everything hexproof, and that's a good card, right? You play
yes.
in white decks, you play in angel decks, so yeah, she seems good. She can't be incredible because she comes in a starter deck.
Yeah.
So like she's not the crazy chase of the set, But yeah, I think she's solid. I'd play her, I think.
Lee, what do you think? I heard the
No, I
heard
mean, I agree for the most part. I think she's definitely a strong card. Like you said, probably not a bomb of the set. We haven't seen any of those yet, but board wide protection like that is that's money, man.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with go wide strategies. Like there are some other cards that seem like they might be pointing in that direction. I'm excited.
Sneaky.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said so far. We actually just talked about Aurora. We recorded a podcast yesterday, and was it yesterday, Lee?
Yep.
Okay, cool. It's dude. Today was like a week. Yeah, and I think that I love aura cards. Like I've talked about, I'm really a big fan of like matters decks, where you're just trying to like buff up as many of your creatures as possible. And so anything that's able to do something along those lines, I'm a big fan of. One thing about this card is that I think that, like, I don't think it's going to be that powerful in set 1, because I don't think there's going to be that much removal or other things that it's going to interact with. I think this is a card that's going to continue to see value unless something else replaces it as we get more sets and more cards, and we're getting more actions and other things that are going to be bouncing or targeting or choosing other characters in the meta.
I mean, I think anything that's going to give your stuff protection will always be a valuable piece, regardless. So
that's fair.
Yeah, so I 100% agree with you there. Liam, what do you think?
Yeah, no, not much more to say. I think agree with everything everybody said. Apologize for the background. She's decently strong defensively as well. Probably, a little difficult to remove by challenging. And the other interesting thing is you may have with this first set kind of a rock paper scissors type meta with these starter decks where some of them are good against others, and so Aurora is definitely the one you'll want against Maleficent in the Ruby deck because it not only protects against her ability, but Dragonfire you'll see run alongside Maleficent for sure. So this card will be probably better against a Ruby deck than it will against others. And so, we don't know if sideboard is a thing either yet. Although
I doubt it.
Some hints. Well, there's
I'm saying it now. I'm saying I doubt it.
If you look at the number of sleeves you get in a pack, you get 65 instead of 60. And if you have a 60 card deck, you have either 5 extra sleeves or they're accounting for some sort of sideboard. Same with the deck boxes. They'll fit more cards than a standard 60 card deck. So things to think about.
So here's here's where I'm at. Okay. Since we don't really know about the challenging, okay, I mean, we know challenging is a thing. It's just we don't really know how it's gonna work. So I think if the combat, right, if there is combat, which there is with the challenging, if that's gonna be like Hearthstone, where you're attacking directly into creatures, then I don't know how much more valuable. I mean, Ward is less valuable then, because then you're able to just target Aurora with attacking directly into her, right? The next thing to answer would be, can you block? Can you block with other creatures, right? I would assume so, because
I don't think so.
What are you blocking
I think there will
against?
be a special keyword to block.
So okay. Well, if that's the case, then I mean, I think Aurora is a whole lot worse then.
So when you say block, what do you mean? Do you mean like I target that creature and then you as the opponent can say, actually, I'm going to put this creature in the way? Or because when I think of blocking, I think of I'm coming at your face, this creature gets in the way, and I don't think we're going to see direct damage in this game.
So before we get there, Liam's got to jump off. Thanks for hanging out, Liam. We'll talk soon. Have fun.
It was a blast. I hate to leave so early, but you all are awesome. Have a great conversation.
All right. See you later, Liam. Okay. So there are other games like, in fact, Alpha Clash is one of those games, as well as, where is it? I know what it is. It's Ashes. There we go. So if let's just say you have Aurora, and then your opponent has a Maleficent already on board, and then you have another Stitch on board. Okay. You take the opponent has Maleficent and wants to challenge Aurora. Okay. I can't remember the stat lines offhand, but let's assume Maleficent's attack value is greater than Aurora's defense value, and then she would lose. You stick your Stitch in front to block the Maleficent challenging Aurora, right? That would save Aurora, because because on this card, on Aurora specifically, it states your other characters gain ward, which is opponents can't choose them except to challenge. So if you can't, if I don't know, that's
one thing I will say is I think what you may be assuming is like Dragon's Fire is like a card picks that thing, but if you look at all the cards we've had so far, granted it's a very small pool, Aurora I think shuts down like half of them. Elsa, exert chosen opposing character. You can't now because it's warded.
Yep. Right.
Cruella de Vil, when this thing is challenged, you can't
choose it, right?
You can't choose something to go to the ban.
I
think it's going to be abilities as well.
I'm not saying Aurora's bad. Correct. I'm just saying it's not as good as it could be. Is what I'm saying. Because again, in thinking about Magic, right? Hexproof is so much better because again, in combat, I can just leave Aurora back, and I don't have to put her into combat. Right, because combat is more defensive oriented, because my opponent can't attack directly into my creatures. They are attacking face, right? But in this game, since we still don't 100% know how the combat system is going to work, but we're assuming that the entire combat system is going to be character to character, and it's not attacking your life points directly. So my whole thing is I just don't think it's as good as it could be. And I think most people who play Magic, when they look at this card, they see Protective Embrace and they see Ward, and they immediately think Hexproof. It's not as good as Hexproof, probably given the environment and the context.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same as Hexproof, but if you can select where damage goes in combat, it's not as good.
I think in Magic terms, it would be like, imagine you had a Planeswalker that was also a creature, so it was still targetable by all things that destroy creatures, and then gave it Hex. That's what you would have, because you can choose to attack a Planeswalker. How valuable would Hexproof be at that point?
Right. I mean, in Magic, there are destroy cards that will specifically target creature, planeswalker, enchantment, right?
Okay,
You just need the exact.
Oh, there's plenty
you need the
of
correct target
yeah,
or
there's
right.
plenty of
or
exile
or
permanents.
just burn cards. Yeah,
Right,
burns,
right,
exiles.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
There's
permanent
plenty of
right.
exile, target permanent, destroy target
Right.
permanents, whatever. Yeah.
Right. And again, I want to make sure I'm clear here with everyone like in chat. I'm not saying Aurora's bad because I think she is still very good. In fact, I just picked up Shalai to add to my Amara Souls of the Accord Commander deck. Right. Definitely, I think Aurora looks like a really, really good card. But again, where I'm at with the game is I'm just still, and where we all are, right? We're all trying to figure out how this stuff works and how good these cards are, and then the mechanics. I'm at the point now to where, when I'm learning a new game, right, I compare it, I have to evaluate it based off what I know, and then kind of look at it that way. So it's part of me just trying to make sense of stuff in my head. So
there we go.
I like Aurora.
It does suggest that, to me at least, it suggests that combat is. This kind of confirms to me at least combat is creature to creature, and the attacker decides where it's going. Like,
yeah,
I feel that that's what this
since
says.
D20. Yeah, we knew that since D23. I mean,
Did we?
Between between Robin Hood and Mickey, it was the only way that Comet made that those two cards could interact together within the game.
Yeah, because Robin Hood gains evasive to be able to target something evasive, right?
Right.
Yeah, and so we know that challenging happens on the active player's turn, and the active player chooses which characters they're challenging.
Yeah,
so those are the things that we know about challenging.
Right.
So Aurora confirms that if nothing else.
Right.
Absolutely.
Cements it as
she put a nail in. She's like, boom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you guys think that blocking is going to be a thing, or do you think the inactive player is going to basically have any say in combat whatsoever? Like, is the active player basically going to say, all right, I'm challenging your Mickey with my Mickey, and I am challenging your other creature with my other creature, and then the inactive player is basically going to say, all right, well, I can't do anything about it, so it goes.
I think that we may see like a key ability, like Sneaky was saying earlier, that will give certain creatures the ability to redirect a challenge.
So Hearthstone.
Yeah,
essentially,
like,
or
Digimon
Digimon does it too. Digimon does it too.
Digimon's where I get it from. Yeah.
Digimon.
It's a pretty common concept in TCGs right now, and I think it's a pretty elegant solution to that problem, honestly.
Yeah. So in Digimon, you get to there's an ability that allows you, if you wish to.
Yep. It's literally just called blocker.
Yeah. Whereas in Hearthstone, they have to do the thing. Isn't it called taunt?
Yeah. And
they have to.
Correct.
They have to target it.
Yep.
They
Hearthstone
can't
is taunt. Yep.
Yeah. So it's literally just a big guy that gives you a turn, basically. It's like, all you can do is kill this.
Yep.
And then we'll carry on.
Organic Chemistry says, so is challenging the combat system Lorcana is going to use, or are they other forms of quote encounters? So we know they're going to use the word challenging, as cards like Captain Hook have the keyword challenger on it. They've talked a bit about challenging. I'm not sure, maybe you guys would know this. Have they ever said anything about the word encounters? I'm not really sure if that has been talked about at all.
The only one that gets thrown around a lot is quest. Is the idea of questing or going on quests.
Right.
I am in the camp that sending glimmers on quests is purely PR speak and is basically just play cards. But there is another camp that suggests that it's actually going to be a mechanic where cards move to a zone and that's how they earn points or something like that. I don't think it's that, but neither of us know, right? I personally just doesn't feel. I think it's. I think I said this last time. Occam's razor. I think it's more simple than that. I think it's going to be creatures, battling creatures. Whoever's got most of them wins.
The whole questing thing just reminds me of Lord of the Rings, the living card game.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, have you guys ever played that game?
No,
it
but
is a lot of fun.
Video.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's I mean, if you're fans of the books or fans of the IP at all, it's so much fun. And part of the game is you are sending your characters to go. I can't remember what the actual term is, but it's essentially you're going on a quest, and then you go. Because there's basically a location that's in play. It's a location, and then there's an active quest that your characters have to go on to, and it's part of the actual game of you have to complete these things to go through the story.
So what kind of things would be a quest?
Dude, it's been a minute. Okay.
Okay.
if I remember rightly,
with a ring, right?
You actually have like a row of cards, right? And it's like you have a row of cards, and it's almost like the scenes from the movie, right? And it's a little limiting in that fact that like you play stuff that is in that scene of the movie, right? Like you kind of play characters that feature there.
Kind of like you build your deck separately of how you want to go through each individual scenario, but each scenario is essentially the same. You're going through one card to the next card to the next card, but what you have in your personal deck to get through it is different from person to person. You can build your deck however you want, but playing through the actual scenario is a little bit different. So I'd honestly, Sneaky, I'd have to pull up the cards.
Okay, that's fine.
And honestly, we did on our channel, we have a playthrough. We went through one of the initial scenarios. So you can check that out. It's fun. It is very much a lot of fun.
Yeah, plug the channel.
Yeah.
Twice as doing that.
Yeah. It's good at it.
So if anyone's ever played Arkham Horror, that's another living card game, and it's even Marvel Champions is very similar, but Marvel Champions is a lot different from the standpoint of it's much less like you're going through an actual story. The thing I appreciate and like about Arkham and Lord of the Rings is you're very much role playing, and you're very much playing through a story. The first time I've told this story before, but the first time I played Arkham Horror, they have the cards set out like an actual book. So this card looks like the left page. This card looks like the right page. And so as you set them side by side, it looks like an open book. So as I'm reading through the story, I'm getting into character and just having a blast, just reading through it and narrating. It's so much fun. It merges Dungeons and Dragons with like Magic the Gathering essentially. So it's very cool, and it's a lot of fun. Like the LCG model is very, very cool. So if you guys in chat have never heard of it, you should go check it out if that's something you'd be interested in. But I don't know, how do we get onto that? Oh, the topic of questing. That's right.
And I think a lot. I know people have mentioned about having like locations or songs as like its card type. It's purely like it could be a thing, but it's purely wishful thinking. I think there are that many awesome locations, awesome songs in Disney lore. I think people just want to kind of see them represented. But so far I've seen no reason to think that they're coming. Again, somebody was like, "Oh, maybe we'll have item cards, and it'll be things like." Poseidon's trident, or and I think that's more plausible as like a card type, because I think if we just see characters and spells based on what those characters can do, we all talk about how like Disney's this huge IP and there's so much to pull from. There's only 60 something movies. Right? If we are limiting it to Disney Animation Studios, there are 63, I think. And we're seeing 13 so far in set one. So I think we there's got to have to be another kind of card type that takes the emphasis away from characters. Else they're going to burn through them like within a couple of years.
Right. I agree. Yeah. I agree. Like I've been saying for a long time, and this mostly is like from the art standpoint. I would love to see locations somehow, mostly because I want to see Elsa's ice castle on a playmat. Like I want to see that.
It would also be cool to see like Dreamborn and Floodborn versions of locations. Like I think that would be kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
Like Agrabah, but like after Jafar took it over and he's like done his like weird stuff with it, and so now it looks different. Like that'd be cool. Or like an amethyst Agrabah or something. I don't know why Agrabah's in my head, but yeah.
No, I can totally see. Or like an Agrabah, but like they found oil and now loads of like cheap tech has moved in. Like I can totally see that as well.
Like Big Hero 6 is set in Agrabah.
Oh my god!
Can we make that movie? Like,
honestly though, I can't wait to see some cards for Big Hero 6, man.
Yeah,
for sure. There's a lot of great IPs.
But I do wonder whether, like, I think we've seen 13 so far, or maybe it's 12 plus Brave Little Tailor. I guess he doesn't quite count as a movie. I wonder if
it's not a movie.
Yeah, but it's like a short, right? So I wonder if that's it. I wonder if that's it. I wonder if set one. I wonder if we've seen the movies that we're going to see in set one now. Like people are saying, I wonder. I wonder if Little Mermaid is set 2. You know, like I wonder if we've seen it now and we're just going to pull from it.
Do you think they're going to do only certain movies in certain sets? Like, do you think set 1 is going to be, you're only going to see, because we've seen Aladdin, we've seen Lion King, we've seen Sleeping Beauty, whatever the films that we've seen, do you think it's just going to be, these are only films you're going to see in this set, and then the next set is going to feature these other movies?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I do. I think the 12 movies we've seen now are going to make up set 1. And I think we'll get 12 more in set 2, and then we'll see the first 12 come back in a year or so.
I think that your, like, whatever that set's like big, like, focus cards are going to be from a different series. I think there will be for cards that are still put in from things that we've seen before.
Yeah, I could get on board with that. Yeah, I could get on board with that.
What do you think?
So for instance, in set 2, we'll see big cards from the Little Mermaid, but we might get like a Zazu that's left over from the Lion King that wasn't in set 1, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that'll be like max rarity rare.
Yeah,
like it won't be your supers and your legendaries. It'll be like commons, uncommons, rares.
Lee, what do you think?
I think that the first chapter is going to be more star-studded than that. I think they're going to want to get their hooks into a bigger, wider group of fans than just the 12 movies, but only time will tell, because up to this point, it's all kind of disjoint. What cards do we have that are like from matching franchises at this point? Isn't it just Sleeping Beauty and Maleficent?
Sleeping Beauty and Maleficent. We've also seen...
Olaf.
I also don't know
Stitch
and Jumba.
Yep, that's true. All right. So, no, there's a little more credence to that. The little bit further we dig into that, you could be right. I am really curious as to what these starter decks are going to look like, as far as like, is it going to match up with our face cards, and how many cards do you guys think we're going to get in these bad boys? Like, do you think we're going to get sets of twos, maybe threes, if they're
are you talking about play sets?
Yeah, in the decks themselves, 2 and 3. Probably no play sets, I would imagine. Most decks don't do that.
I think.
You're
assuming the play set is 4.
So hang on. So Lee, is the question in the starter decks?
Yeah.
The cards that are going to be in the starter decks, are we going to see full play sets of the cards, or is it just going to be like single cards or 1 or 2 cards of each?
Oh, I'm sure we won't see full play sets, but yeah, what do you guys think? Is it 1, 2, 3? Like, where do you think we're going to go here?
In the starter decks?
Yes,
probably.
yes.
I would assume 2.
Yeah.
I at most, I don't think they would do more than 2.
I think it'll be a normal deck distribution. I think you'll have cards that are 4, some are 2, some are 1. But it's going to be mostly comprised of commons and uncommons.
Yeah, and probably if there's any rares and stuff, they'll probably do 2. Like, there's a big thing about, like, with Digimon, you buy 2 of the starter decks, right?
Decks and slap them together.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. So I could see that being a thing here.
Yeah. Okay. So, do we know playset is 4? Do we know that yet?
No, we don't actually. No,
we don't. Okay, so
just an assumption based off the 60 card deck.
Right. So that being said, okay, because I don't even think we talked about this last time.
Just quickly before that, I will say that having play sets of 4 is an assumption based on 60 card decks, and I think an assumption on shift. Because I think shift only works if you're going to be hitting
Yes,
characters.
you got to
and a
hit them
name.
consistent. You need that consistency with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they can also mess with that by creating more cards with that name. But yeah,
That's true.
Which is, but that still goes to that.
Mhm.
I think that does still go to that argument though too, because you still do need that more consistency. But where I was going with this was when I saw that's a 60 card deck, I'm like, okay, 60 card deck to me says there's going to be resources in the deck itself.
Yep.
What do you guys think there? Jonty, what's the face? What's the face,
I think,
man?
yeah, I think you're right. If it is a 60 card deck and we open it up and it's 60 cards and that's the deck, then yes, I think it means either the resources are in the deck or we pitch cards for resources, as in we
please no.
in we get. I
Please
don't
no.
like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
why?
like thematically I don't like it doesn't feel nice to me. It doesn't feel
throw your
good
stuff
to
away.
get rid of
No.
stuff just so I can play the other stuff that's in my hand.
Yeah, it feels
But
bad.
saying that, arguably the biggest problem with Magic and Pokemon is that you can get flooded or drought, so what I'm kind of hoping is that 60 card deck, actually, when you open it up, you go, okay, there's my 40 and there's my 20. Okay, let's go. And they just aren't saying that now because it's just not something they want to talk about right now, or it's just easier to say 60 card deck on the box.
Sure.
I'm trying to think of like how One
Haven't they
Piece
confirmed
does it.
decks are haven't they confirmed decks are 60 cards though?
I think so, but
Chat,
I said
help
something
me
like
out.
that.
But if you buy a One Piece starter deck, does it say 60 cards or does it say 50 and 10? Like I can't think
good
off the top of my
question.
head. Yeah, that's what I'd be interested to know.
I know I've seen the 50 and 10 like wording, like if you go to like buy it from a website. I don't know what it says on the deck box.
That's the only thing I can. That's my saving grace. That's my hope that it's not a resource in the deck. Is that it's actually something like that.
Now, hang on. Before we continue, B Squared had a question. It says, are there other TCGs that have 60 card decks and don't have 4 card play sets? Do you guys know? Final Fantasy. I think Final Fantasy's actually 50 card decks. I'm pretty sure Final Fantasy's 50 card deck. Excuse me.
No.
And those are play sets of 3.
I know that there are card games with less than 60 card decks that still have 4 card play sets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Like, what's Digimon? Digimon is what?
50.
50.
Digimon's 50. Okay.
Yep.
And that's play set of 4.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
play set of 4.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna try and see where I can find. Don't Steggy, don't be asking about Yu-Gi-Oh here. This is not Jim is not here. This is not. I'm just kidding.
We don't speak about that game.
Yu-Gi-Oh can have
Okay.
60. They can.
Okay.
You don't
So
want to because the minimum deck is 40, but you can have 60.
So organic chemistry, because this is where I was going to go. The Lorcana website says to play Disney Lorcana, each player will need a deck of 60 cards.
There you go.
So I knew I saw it somewhere. Thank you, organic chemistry.
Good going. The sleuth over here.
So, dude, I don't know, man.
But they could again only just be saying that now because they haven't released mechanics and they don't want to give anything away.
Okay, Sneaky. Why do you not like the idea of pitching cards for resources?
I've just played I played Flesh and Blood literally once and I absolutely hated the mechanic and I don't remember what other game I played and I don't like I don't know. It just, like Jonty said, it just doesn't feel good. Like to have cards in your hand, then you have to get rid of them in order to play the things that you want to play. And then it really just messes with like the concept of just card advantage and tempo from other games. It's there, but it's an entirely different beast. And I don't want to have to teach myself that entire new system, to be completely honest. It's just, it doesn't feel good to me. I don't like it. I'd rather have my resources, be able to build them up and ramp up and then move from there and not have this weird constant like back and forth thing. Plus every time most of the times I've seen it, it's not in a build up your board type game. It's in something similar to Flesh and Blood where it's a combat simulator.
Right.
It just doesn't feel like it fits.
Which has its place, and which is I think a perfect reason why it works for a game like Flesh and Blood, right? One of the things I love about Flesh and Blood is just the idea of, you know, person to person, like PvP combat in a card game. And I think James White did a phenomenal job just kind of designing that entire game with that system.
Yeah.
But the other thing I
still think
say
Universus is better.
You think what?
I still think Universus is a better person-to-person combat simulator for a card game.
I have never played that. You said Universus?
Yeah, it used to be called Universal Fighting System, UFS. The My Hero Academy game is Universus.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the one thing I was going to say was, you know what else feels bad? Flooding out.
Yes.
Getting flooded or, you know, mana screwed, like that feels bad too. But I think the whole resource thing has been a big topic within card games for a very long time, and I don't think any one person has figured it out correctly. Now, here's the thing. So organic chemistry comes here again and says, well, and we have tokens too. The start deck comes with 11 of them, which makes it seem like we need tokens to play. So maybe those could be resources.
Yeah.
So maybe,
yeah.
Has anyone thought about this? Has anyone thought about the pips? Can you tap those pips for resources?
I don't think it's that.
Sense.
No, I don't think
it doesn't make sense with Hades. He's too high cost for it to be valuable for that. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Unless it's the idea that if you your opening hand has Hades in, you go, well, I'm not playing him, so I'll use him for 2 to play something else. You know, but I just don't dig it.
What we do know is that the tokens are the pips. The tokens are those pips.
We don't know that.
Well, we
look at the gift. If you look at the gift set, the tokens show and have the pip on them.
It looks like there's a cutout of it.
Tracker,
right?
The tracker
that's what
token,
I was going to say.
The tracker token has a cutout in the shape of a pip.
So
it could just be where it's just meant to show a number underneath it.
That to me, that's what me says. That's what I'm hoping is it's going to be some kind of like a bit like the Digimon system or something.
Oh yeah.
It's not.
That's still my.
That gives me big hope.
That's still my theory on the WinCon is that it's a CCS gauge, but for winning instead of for resources.
Yeah. So do we think it's one of the
what tracker? What tracker are we talking about?
So if you look at the front of the gift set, it shows you the two.
Let me pull it up. I'll pull it up.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Technology, man.
I've got it right here.
There you go. So those tokens there.
Yes.
The pips are a whole.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes,
they are.
And if you look at the bottom, it specifically says 2 tracker tokens.
Yeah, they call
2
them
tracker tokens. Ah.
So that's what those are.
Okay.
Might I add, Mulan is a beast. Might I add?
Yeah,
she is going to be a great card.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I love Hades. I love the whole Floodborne thing. I'm just super intrigued. I'm like, I want to know, guys. Just tell me.
So you'll appreciate this, Dan. There's a current theory going around that each starter deck is going to contain a Floodborne character. So John T, Dan, any thoughts on that?
I think one of the 2 on the box art is Floodborne. Yeah, I think the Mickey is Floodborne. We know the Aurora is, and I think the Aladdin is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
So let me see.
See how quick Dan can pull that picture.
Okay. So let me pull that up here. So we do. Let me turn this one off. We're gonna do. Oh, I can just.
We're sending Dan on quests.
Yes, you are sending me on quests. That's okay. That I want this one. Okay.
We're gonna go.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize
we're on the Brady Bunch.
Okay. So we've got Aurora. So we know Cruella is not Floodborne.
She's storyborn.
So well, we 100%. I think it's a safe bet that Aladdin is Floodborne.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very safe bet. Aladdin's Floodborne.
Same for Mickey.
And same for Mickey.
Yeah.
So Sneaky, you're saying that there's a theory that we're going to see a Floodborn in each of these starter decks?
Yeah, and we've picked now that we've seen Aurora, because it was already theorized that way because of Mickey and Aladdin. But now that we've seen Aurora, who doesn't have the iconography of the game, and we know she's Floodborn, I feel like it's almost a shoo-in, especially since now that we've seen this, it seems that Floodborn is a very central, or is very central to the game. And to me, a starter deck is meant to introduce new players to the key mechanics of the game. And if Floodborn is a key mechanic of the game, the starter deck should have a Floodborn character in it.
Yeah. And that's exactly what Steggy says here. He says, I bet they all Floodborn, so new players can be introduced to that mechanic right away.
And not only is it a mechanic that sits alongside things like Ward and Evasive, I think Shift is going to be like one of the main. I don't think it's like, oh, I'm building a Shift deck. I think its Shift is going to be throughout the game as one of the big things that happen, just like evolving Pokemon in Pokemon.
Right.
I think it's going to be a main key point of the game.
Right. Yeah, I like it. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so here's a thing that's been floating around in my head. Do we think we'll be able to include Shift characters in our deck outside of our deck's colors?
No, I don't think.
No reason.
I doubt it.
I was just throwing it out there.
I doubt it.
Because say we have a Ruby Aurora, and then maybe I don't have the resources to hard cast a Dreaming Guardian Aurora, but I could shift into her. So would I still be able to include her in my deck?
You think maybe the shift is like colorless almost, like it's the shift cost is colorless.
Yeah. Like assuming that's how it works.
I doubt it.
I'm not random speculation now, just for
Sure, because that's all we're doing. Because that's all we can do.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of enjoyed Ruby Aurora as well. That's just a fun thing to say, isn't it? Ruby Aurora.
I was just gonna say that 5 times fast.
Exactly. I think all the 3 Floodborns that we've seen so far, Aurora, Stitch, and I'm trying to pull it up here.
Hades,
thank you. I think that we will eventually see, maybe not in the first set, but in the first 2 sets probably, each one of them will have a different color shift counterpart, like someone they can shift from in 2 different colors, so as to not limit you in the deck building. So like you aren't locked into like 2 colors. You can choose from, like, say, because Aurora's Sapphire shift, you will have, like you said, Ruby Aurora and maybe Amber Aurora, and you could go in one of those 2 directions.
Hang on. Going off of that, do we think, because again, the starter decks, right? We have Sapphire and Steel, right, with Aurora and Simba. Is there going to be a Sapphire Aurora and a Steel Aurora?
I could see a Steel Aurora. I could see that being her, like, original sleeping form, like her actual in, like, the Sleeping Beauty asleep.
Now, why do you say that? And the reason I ask is, and I don't have any theories on this. I know what's his name, Martin. I've seen this, Whippet on Twitter a lot about the whole color theory thing. We don't really know anything about what the colors actually mean yet, unless I've missed something. Have I missed anything?
I don't think so. I'm more just theory crafting as to why I think we'll see a Steel
Sure.
Aurora.
Yes.
And there's a couple of things that lead me to believe that. One, she's simply in the Sapphire Steel deck.
Right.
Right. That's like the main one, really. And then my other ones are, if you look at Captain Hook, our first Steel card, he bolsters. He makes himself stronger.
When he attacks, essentially.
Yeah, right. And in my opinion, Steel will be able to do this same effect several different ways, and that's going to be kind of their hook. It's Steel's hook. I didn't, pun intended. But
like their mechanic.
Exactly. Yes.
So Steel is going to be about attacking and buffing you while you're attacking, essentially.
Buffing mainly, not necessarily through attacking. So, because I think we'll see Simba have anthem effect. Personally, I think that
That makes
I agree as
sense.
well.
Yeah,
That
I
makes
think he's
sense.
gonna have an
Yeah.
anthem effect,
Yeah.
and I could see that a Steel Aurora could buff just her defense because she is asleep up in a tower. You know what I mean? And I've immediately
I see.
the steel symbol itself to me looks like a fortress or castle wall being split by an attack. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's what leads me to believe we'll see that.
Interesting.
I think unfortunately we haven't seen enough of any one color yet to
Right.
really
Mhm.
work on that.
Right.
I think one thing we have to be careful is that we don't say, "Oh, well, red in Magic is like
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
100%.
Yes.
Right.
attacks."
Yes.
And I'm not
Because
sure it
Right.
is
I don't-
here. I think
Right.
Maleficent is sort of pretty heavy, but Mickey isn't. Mickey's more of a
Yeah.
sort of hang back and earn points kind of guy, So
Yeah.
I'm not. I think we have to be careful not to put the colors from other games onto this, so to speak.
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. I think no, but real quick, B squared says that fits with her ward stuff too.
Yep,
Buff
exactly.
and protect with ward,
Mhm.
100%.
Steelfire
but
beats.
what I was gonna say is, I think the interesting thing for designers, okay, not being a designer myself, I think it's got to be really interesting to approach a new game when you have so much other material to pull from, and you very easily could be like, here's what Magic does, here's what Pokemon does, and then just fall into the same mold, but you reject it and say, nope, we see what all they've done, and we're going to do it our own way and come up with new ideas and just completely throw out the mold, and not saying like you're disrespecting that, and also not saying you're like rejecting all that's gone before you, but taking everything that they have done and learned from it and then just do your own thing. I think that's like really, it's an interesting space to be in, because you're like, you've seen so much, and like, Ryan and Steve, like they've seen a lot, and they've got a lot to pull from. So I'm really interested to see, because again, Jonty, like I'm like, okay, red's gonna be direct damage,
And like I think you gotta be careful not to necessarily reinvent the wheel, because it isn't Magic and Pokemon that came up with the concept of red being fiery and attacky.
They borrowed that from other
color
sources,
theory in general, right? Like we've just always associated certain colors with certain moods and certain effects. So like I think you've got to be careful.
Why does red? Wait a second, guys. Hang on. Why does red always have to be associated with direct damage and just mean people? Come on. Oh man, I get so disrespected around here.
I was gonna say, I associate it with passion, you know what I mean, and like that kind of. That's what I lean towards when I think of red.
Cool.
Yeah, but if somebody somebody came out with a new fantasy novel.
It's my favorite color.
If somebody came out with a new fantasy novel and the red dragon in it was just chilled out and getting a manicure, and it wouldn't fit, right? Like no, this is right.
So
it's built into us. This stuff,
what's funny is it's very interesting to me. Like being a redhead, I feel like I perfectly embody the color red, like as a person.
It fits.
It fits, and like that to me that's just really interesting. Like it's just like, I know my personality and I know I fit the color red to a T, and it's just my hair happens to be red too. It's one of those things that I look at and I just think God has such a sense of humor.
I want to know whether I have a brown personality then. What that means.
Brown personality.
Well, it's also funny too, because and my parents have told me this before, but when my mom knew she was pregnant, my mom used to be a kindergarten teacher, and she had in her class, she had a little boy with red hair, and she said he was the worst kid ever. And she knew when they were going to have me, she was like, oh dear God, please not a redhead, please not a redhead, because she had this terrible experience with this one kid in her class.
Oh man.
And so my parents were like, when I was born, they were like, the blood's not coming off his head. I don't think that's blood. I'm pretty sure that's the color of his hair.
I totally get that though. When we were coming up with names for our boy, you don't realize how many assholes you know until you start coming up with names.
Seriously,
Yeah, I
you're
know one of
really
those. You can't call him
like,
that.
no.
Yeah, you're not
Every
wrong,
name,
man.
No, I know one of them.
Yep.
No, he's a jerk. Yeah.
That's
very
funny.
true. Very true. Anyway, color theory.
Color theory. Yeah. I am. Yeah. I don't know what's next. What do we hope for next? What do we hope to see next? Just like I feel like we're just going to get a couple of vanillas now, or maybe a couple of the arts shown. And
yeah, I
and
mean,
it's
my
just
theory
gonna
is
be
they're
more.
going to be filling us in with cards from the starter decks. Is going to be what they're going to be
Yeah.
going forward.
Yeah.
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 What
I
I,
think-
what,
I
what I
think the
want
only-
is organized play
Nope.
information.
I don't think we're gonna see any of that until
not till
Gen
spring.
Con. Well, I don't think we will see anything about. Well, I don't know. Maybe because Gen Con is so close to release.
Yeah, I think
that-
we know everything by Gen Con. I think we know
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, everything.
Honestly.
Yep.
As a store, I expect to know what I'm running like a couple of months out, I think.
Right.
honestly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the stuff won't turn up until maybe the week before.
You'll get some emails and stuff though, for
But,
sure.
Yeah,
at
but
the
I
very least.
mean actually like as in like actual promo material.
Yeah,
as in prizing won't show up until about a week before usually, because they want to keep that gap super tight, right? So that stuff doesn't get out early.
Right.
Like even now, like our Magic, like Phyrexia All Will Be One Magic set came out. It went into pre-release today. We have 2 distributors. Half of it came on Wednesday, and the other half came this morning. Like that's how close they keep it, so that this stuff doesn't get into the wild too early. So as far as like
it still gets into the wild.
of course it
really
does,
early,
right?
too.
So as actual far as like physical stuff they're sending out goes, I imagine that will be coming like a week or two before. But as far as like the logistics, as a store, I want to be selling tickets a couple of months out, right? Like I want to be telling people what's happening a couple of months out. So,
Right.
So
Organic
all 4 of us
Chemistry
here
says,
are going
please,
to Gen
please,
Con?
please, more stuff on gameplay. Not till spring. Organic Chemistry, unfortunately.
I think the only gameplay stuff we'll get now is card text on any cards they reveal now.
Yeah. So to Lee's question, are you guys going to Gen Con?
Yes.
All right. Good.
So
yeah.
I'm still working on it, but yeah, I think so.
I have not ordered our badges yet. We're like 90% sure we're going.
Apply for a press badge.
I mean, I'm confident we will get a press badge. The last time we went, I applied for it, but I had literally just started our channel like a couple months before, and we were super tiny. I mean, we're still tiny, but we're a lot smaller than we are now. And we didn't get it, but I knew I had some other friends who were not that much larger than we were at the time, and they got a press badge. So I'm pretty sure
I'm in the same boat as you, Dan.
I applied with my Rivenstone podcast's information, and I got approved in like 3 days. So now we've got 20 episodes. So
he'll be in there.
So the only thing I'm waiting on is we know the restrictions now. They're saying there's not gonna be any like COVID restrictions. If that changes, then we wouldn't be able to go. So I'm hoping they don't change it,
because last year there was like still masks and everything in place, right? Like it was still pretty full on, I think, for Gen Con.
The reason we didn't go is because they said you had to have proof that you're vaccinated, and we don't all have that. So we're like, unfortunately we can't go, but that's all right. So if they change it,
I think I'd be surprised now if a lot of that sort of stuff's in place now. I've done like 4 pretty big events already this year, and nothing's asked for anything. And this is in Canada, where they're a lot tighter on a lot of that sort of stuff. Right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'd be surprised now if anywhere.
I imagine they'd have info on that when we were buying our badges.
They do.
Oh, do they?
And right now they've come out and they've said They are not requiring a vaccination status, and they're not requiring masks. They're encouraging it, but they're not requiring it. Last year they required it, but now they're saying they're not requiring it. And then when they put the announcement on Twitter, there's been basically the majority of the people commenting were people who didn't like that and saying, you know, what are you doing? But regardless, and so and they said that we reserved the right to change that even at the last minute. And then if you don't have it,
oh man, that'd be suicide though. I
right.
think
That's what
unless
kind
there's
of
another
worries
huge
me.
outbreak, it's not gonna. Unless there's another huge
I
outbreak.
suppose. I
wouldn't
suppose
worry
that's probably the only reason they're saying it,
Right.
Is just in
Right.
case.
Right.
But
So
that's I suppose that everything always kind of says we refuse.
I don't,
It's liability,
we reserve the
baby.
right
It's-
to, like, we always can change it. I suppose
right. Liability, sure.
Yeah, they're covering themselves, you know.
So the one thing I think if they change anything, they'll probably change the mask policy, which you know, I'll bring it I'll bring all those just in case.
Yeah.
So
anyway. we should be doing it. The big thing is I don't normally do Gen Con. A team from our store goes down, but it's right on my kid's birthday. So normally that's the one where I'm like, well, that's an easy one for me to be the guy who stays back at the store kind of thing. So but yeah, this is just a big one to miss, you know. Like, so I
is
think
your
if
kid
I do
that
come,
cool? I mean,
like he's had like 5
he's
birthdays
all right,
now,
you know?
right? Like, you know. So I think this might be the one, but if I do come down, it'll just be for like a couple of days, and then I'll have to leave before the end of it to get back for his birthday. So I think I'm going to do it, but yeah.
This one, I 100% like. I really want to go. I've already caught it on my work calendar that I'm like, I'm going to be gone.
Me too.
So I like this one. I'm super excited. And not even just for Lorcana. I mean, the last time we went was the first time we'd ever gone to Gen Con 2 years ago, and we had a blast. Like we went and I'm like, I'm not doing any content. I'm not bringing cameras. I'm bringing nothing. I just want to go and enjoy the event. And we had a blast. And so this time will be a lot different. But when Jim and I left, we're like, dude, we have got to go to this every freaking year. It was such a blast. And we met a couple people. There were some content creators actually who live not that far from us. So we got to meet up with them. We had a lot of fun. But now, like, having more connections that we know, we're just like, we have to go just to hang out with everybody.
Yeah.
And because that's the whole community thing. That's what we're all about.
And I think that's really all you should be going for. Like, if the game came out in November and they were still doing what they're doing at Gen Con, then I would say that it's worth going to get the product early. It's worth going, if you're a speculator or a collector, it's worth doing. But the fact that it's only like 2 weeks before it comes out, the only reason you should be going is because you want to just soak it up and meet the people. And, like, don't be going because you're getting cards 2 weeks early, right?
No,
you're going to make cash out of that, No, just go because it's going to be a cool event.
I think for content creators, I think for content creators especially, it's very nice to go, and then especially when there's publishers there and designers, just to put a face and then put the hand, say nice to actually meet you in person, and then just develop that relationship. And then just for the communities themselves, just the ability to just hang out. And then for like card game players, just there's always tournaments. They're like, we're having our big Gen Con tournament, like Versus System always has a big Gen Con tournament. Like a lot of these different card games.
You better believe I'm bringing a commander deck or two with me.
Dude, you better, man. Because one thing I was going to tell all the Lorcana people, anyone who plays Magic and plays Commander, you bring decks. And if you don't, I will bring all of my decks and we will teach you and we will film it and we will just have such a great time.
Yeah, it'll be a blast.
Such a good time.
I'm looking forward to meeting everybody in person. It's going to be great. And I've always wanted to go to Gen Con because it sounds like heaven. And this is just the excuse that I needed.
It's not Iowa, man. Iowa's heaven.
But yeah, no, I've always wanted to go, and this is the big push I needed to finally go.
Same.
B Squared, I want to see lots of pictures and videos and things for those who can't make Gen Con. You better believe I'm already making plans of how I'm going to be getting stuff recorded and put up. So 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. I'm very much looking forward to it. There's not many of those that I go to that I don't have a blast in. Honestly, like they're just so much fun. We did I think we did about 15 last year in various sort of levels, and so sometimes we go and we take a stall with us and actually sell on the shop floor, and then sometimes we just go as just regular punters, and then sometimes we go in more of a sort of official capacity. But like I never don't enjoy them. The best one for me personally is called Gamma, which is like
Gamma.
the industry one. And that's really good because that's where you get all the cool secrets and stuff.
Which is a perfect tie-in to this question by Organic Chemistry.
Yeah, so Organic Chemistry's got a good question, random question. Any guesses on when we'll get pricing info for US? We saw it from the Toy Fair video for Germany, I think.
You will get it after Gamma.
Yeah.
Yep.
When is Gamma? Isn't that in February?
March?
Or is that March?
Yeah.
Is that March?
Oh no, April this year. April 24th to 28th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So unfortunately, it's my favorite one. I'm missing it this year, and only because it's the last year they're holding it in Reno. And then it's moving to, I can't remember where, some middle of the US place. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But basically the boss is my boss's wife is like, if you don't take me to Reno before it's not in Reno anymore, I am leaving you. so yeah, I miss it this year, unfortunately. But yeah, that's usually the one where like big releases through the year. That's where you'll get the pricing, product allocation, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So when do you think we're gonna get? So we know first set is dropping in August. When do you think we're gonna get info on the second set?
Shortly after, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe
September.
even inserts in the packs. Ad cards, maybe.
Ooh,
Interesting.
that'd be interesting. I think probably like end of September we'll start seeing stuff. Yeah.
And I've already talked about this, but like with Lorcana, this is like the first game. This is the first time for a trading card game that I'm like very much interested on the lore and the backstory and how everything works. Like when I play Magic, honestly, I'm not a fan. I don't really care about the lore. I don't really care about what's going on with the story. I just like playing the cool cards and knowing how these cards work.
Yep.
And there's a whole community, and there's so many people who love the story, like Chandra. They love Chandra. They love Lilia. They love all the characters and everything that's going on with the story. And honestly, like Wizards spends a great deal of time and effort like writing those stories. And I think they do a good job. But it's just not something that I'm like invested in.
I'm the same. Yeah, I'm not invested. Like I remember a month or so ago, and people were coming to me and they were like, "Oh, can you believe that Tamiyo's been completed?"
Oh yeah,
I'm like I don't know what most of those words mean. Yeah,
right.
Cool
Well, this
card,
is funny. This is funny. Organic Chemistry says, "I need to know how much damage to prepare my husband for."
He'll get the bill eventually, He'll be all right.
There's that old meme, right, where it's like, my biggest fear is that I die young and my partner sells my cards for what I told them I paid for them.
So like tonight, like these conversations are like the reason I started doing this for the community. Like I cannot wait until we know how everything works and we start seeing cards and then can have the theory crafting discussions and then just talking about the decks and stuff we're looking forward to build. And like this is where it's like, it's starting with Aurora. For me, it's starting to like get real. Not like it
was the one for me. Hades was the one for me because I'm a big fan of like Matters decks. So seeing a card care about those the I don't know what we're calling them, the creature types, seeing a card that cares about those was a big plus for me because I love those kind of that play style. Yeah.
Do you guys think so we know we're getting gameplay in spring, right? Do you think that reveal is going to be like a live streamed event? Because I mean, all of you for the most part follow Magic for a little bit, correct?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when they have these new sets dropping, they dive super heavy into making like a ton of these different videos. Do you think Ravensburger is going to do something similar, or how do you think they're going to drop that? Because we know this is going to be a huge reveal. The whole gameplay thing, like this is going to be the biggest thing that they have revealed about the game when it drops. How big do you think they're going to make it? Or do you think it's just going to be, here's an article and here's a video?
Yeah, that's a really tricky one, right? Like it could be just like quite a low, like a low budget. Because I'll be honest with you, the original trailer that came out, personally, was a little low budget, considering what they could have done.
It was.
It was lackluster for sure.
It was.
Yeah, that kind of animated style. I don't really know what that's called, but it's the they're 2D images,
Yeah.
puppeting. Yeah, like there are YouTube channels who make those kind of videos, right? To show off their new sets.
So hang on. I want to jump in real quick. When we talked to Jake Boss,
Game Nights
on our podcast,
right? They use that sort of stuff.
When he watched it, he's like, he pointed it out because he's like, it's very interesting because this is the exact same stuff we do on our show. And when you have somebody involved like Disney, who has like these animation studios, they clearly didn't do anything about it. It's just they took 2D images and like puppeted.
That's been
which is
nowhere
still
near
cool.
Disney. Yeah.
Which is still cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
but you'd expect more out of Disney though, for
Right.
sure.
You couldn't give me 20 seconds of the Sorcerer Mickey at the end animated properly, like that. So that was a slight worry for me, and I just wonder if it's because it's a bit of an unknown entity for Disney right now, and you'll probably see that production level go up as it moves on.
As they bring in the big bucks, like
I think so. Yeah.
If they're making money on it, I don't think they're gonna have any questions about. Oh yes, let's up the production quality and just keep raking in the dollars.
But then, so part of me can see something like where it's just Ryan and Steve sat down and and going over the game. But then also I can see the whole thing like Magic do, where they build a set and they get like James Woods, they drag James Woods out to do, you know what I mean? Like something like that, right?
Please drag James Woods out.
Like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Like I can totally see that kind of thing happening as well. And anywhere in between, I would be fine with, really. But yeah, it could go either way for me personally. Yeah, it could be, hey, here's a dev and one of our community managers talking about it, which is what you get from most like mid-tier.
You got that a lot with Marvel Snap. You got that with Marvel Snap too. That's kind of how they did a lot of their stuff too.
Yeah, it was the dev, right? Like, it came across very passionate and very real. He came across. He was like, I want to tell you about this game that I've been working on for 5 years,
and that's how Ben Brode is. That's how Ben Brode is. Like he always seems very real, and he's a very over the top guy. And like when he's talking about his projects, you can tell he is so passionate about his projects and the stuff that he works on. Now I want to get to this real quick. Steggy brings up a good point or a question. Says, from a competitive standpoint, are you worried about there being only 1 or 2 decks that are just leagues above the others? So are there going to be tier 0 decks? And we've kind of had this discussion before. I think you are going to limit that when you are limiting your decks to only being 2 colors. So do you think we're going to have any tier 0 decks?
It's always a worry when it comes to a competitive card game, in my opinion. It's always something you've got to be mindful of.
Right.
But their decision, like you said, to keep it decks to a 2-color maximum, it's going to greatly negate you playing a 3rd color just for the good stuff.
Right.
Just to pull it up that tier. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just for that little splash. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's going to be tier 0 decks. I think we're going to see a lot of meta diversity, in the meta.
We'll see a nice field for sure.
I hope so.
I think so.
Until we get Goofy, because there's no way Goofy's not tier 0.
You just can't beat the guy.
So this brings up a question. What would y'all consider a healthy meta? How many like tier 1, tier 2 rogue decks, if we're using that kind of terminology?
Oh, like as in like an actual hard number of decks?
Yeah, or like a
Any
range.
idea
Like
what-
how many
I think-
how many
all right,
decks or archetypes
here-
would you
here.
say need to
I'm
be
gonna say
tier
this. I'm gonna
1
say
for
this.
it to be
I
healthy?
think if your top 8, if your top 8 consists of 2 decks, it's a terrible meta.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
if your top 8 consists of 4 or 5 decks, perfect. I
Yeah.
think that's good.
And even if those 4 decks like even if they all look a little different, you know, like that
Mhm.
that can be
they're not the
enough,
exact
right?
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to
like
have to
each-
say I have to run these specific
Correct.
cards
Yeah.
in
Correct.
this amount in order
There's a lot
to
of
win.
different tech.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
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 I'm hoping to
100%.
see exactly that personally.
Well, can I just one thing I will say about Marvel Snap, because I've just remembered we were saying
Yes.
that Marvel Snap, their video was Ben just kind of being like, "Hey, look at this thing I built." They did have an announcement trailer that was a fully animated
They did.
minute and a half long
They did.
trailer.
I wonder who did that. I'm very interested to know who did that, because that was their announce. That was like
that was
the
like the
announcement
announcement
video.
one. That was the same as the Lorcana one we've seen, as far as like
Right.
release
Correct.
schedule.
Yeah. Release schedule. Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Mhm.
And I would, and it was great. And
It's phenomenal.
And I do remember seeing the Lorcana one and thinking, God, that was great. Oh my God, Disney card game. I'm going to be financially ruined. But then I did afterwards think, why wasn't it actually animated though? This is like, it wasn't. I tell you what it was. It was when one of the first articles I read, and it specifically said that it was a partnership between Ravensburg and Disney Animation Studios, and it was when, as I read the words Disney Animation Studios, it made me think, oh God, why didn't we get an actual animation then?
Well, I also wonder if Disney was just like, we can do it, but it's going to cost you a bunch of money, and that you're going to be paying for. We're not going to be paying for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And at this point,
and then Ravensburger was just like, we don't have the money yet.
Right.
Like you know,
I hope we see a first chapter trailer. I love the Magic trailers. I love the Magic usually do a really good set trailer for the standard sets. Some of them recently have been a little weak, but again, like the New Capenna one and the
favorite is War of the
Phyrexia one.
My favorite is War of the Spark.
That's the backwards one.
Was
I love
amazing.
that.
Yes,
Is that
the backwards
so
one.
good? That or Throne of Eldraine with the gingerbread people.
Yeah, the gingerbread
so
one.
good.
Yeah, that's so good.
But the New Capenna one and the Phyrexia one more recently, it's not puppeting, but it's like they're 3D models, but they don't. It just sort of like pans around them. You know, there's no actual animation, so to speak. It's just kind of 3D models panning and some sort of like particle effects and stuff. And you do watch it and think, oh, this was the one they saved money on this year, and I just I hope that we just don't get that. I hope that they throw a bit of money behind this, because it's a big deal, right? This, you throw it on YouTube and you get this minute-long video.
And it's interesting, too, because and I know that I've said before that I think Disney for the most part has been very hands-off, other than just to be involved and say, hey, you can't do this with our characters. But on the flip side, they're also, since they are very protective of their image, right? I'm very kind of surprised that they haven't, in these trailers been like, okay, we're not letting you do this, and unless it's at this certain bar and only we can do it, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So that's another interesting thing too.
Yeah, it is not the original Lorcana trailer is not Disney standard.
No, it's not.
Yeah. It's not. And because there's history to go back to as well, as far as like Disney video games, right? And there's been a lot of Disney games before, and I'm wondering, because it's been a long time, like we've talked about Mirrorverse. I don't. Did they do a lot of marketing for Mirrorverse, or like how did
I
that?
can't remember. As far as the actual game itself is terrible. It's just like a
hey, I thought it was kind of fun. It's one of those.
I spend way too much money on those. The Hero Idol game, way too much money on Hero Idol.
Yeah, but it looks great. Like
it does.
Within its bubble, within its sort of like it has a ceiling, right? Like it's a mobile app.
Yeah.
But it's polished, man. They look great. Official global launch trailer of Disney Mirrorverse. I'm just gonna have a little look and see. But yeah, I imagine. But again, 3D arguably. Like 3D animation is now easier and cheaper than 2D animation, so I do wonder if that maybe is a part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Could it have all been just an intentional move because these are things pulled off of a page and they were trying to reinforce that book aesthetic? It was maybe a misstep.
It had the whole. It felt very storybooky to me. Like I'm going to be the plebeian and say like I'm not analyzing the artistic stuff and how much I went into and stuff. I enjoyed the trailer.
What are you doing here then?
Simple. yeah.
All we do is nitpick.
I thought it was simple. It was to the point. I got to see the cards. They looked cool. Like I was very happy with it. Personally.
Yeah,
it's neat.
It was cool, and I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. It's just when I watched it, literally, like for me, my mind immediately went to game nights because it's how they animate all their pieces, and that's what it's what.
And I think LLRMTG, the Loading Ready Run guys,
Loading Ready Run, yeah.
I think one of their weekly shows has a similar kind of style as well. But it does seem to be the sort of pack small, play big kind of budget way of making a thingy. I'm sorry, the Mirrorverse trailer is freaking amazing. it's
Sammy. How long is the trailer?
For 2 minutes, but you can watch it without sound. It's Merida running around Agrabah and like shooting arrows at Scar and
send me the link. Send me the link.
What did I come back to?
It's so good.
Mirrorverse.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
what we're comparing to, right?
So we'll get to that in 1 second. There's two things that I want to get to here from the chat. The first, because I think this will be really quick. Alex Johnson, Nive, I'm going to get to your thing here in a second. But Alex says, does anyone think there will be an app with code cards in the packs like Pokemon? I'm saying no, and I'm sticking to it. I don't think there's going to be any digital client. I don't think they're going to do anything digital, at least. Yeah, I think they're just going to keep this all physical.
Not at launch.
What I think.
Yeah, at the very least, not at launch.
So are we all pretty much on the not at launch, at least so far?
I think so.
How about after launch? Do you guys think eventually there's going to be a digital client?
If it does really well, sure. They're going to want to capitalize on it.
I don't think Ravensburger are particularly that way inclined, but I think eventually Disney will go to them and be like, hey, look at that.
You see Magic the Gathering Arena, right?
That makes money.
Yeah.
And
we can do that too.
Runeterra, Hearthstone, like there's big names based digitally.
There is. B squared asks, how do we all feel about a digital client? I mean, I think we're all big card game players, and I would much prefer to play a card game in person. However, it's very nice having the ability to sit down and play the game, whatever I'm doing digitally, especially for like practicing. And there's a ton of utility for sure in playing it digitally, let alone practicing, right? But I don't know. I think where I'm coming from has got to be partly jealous too, because it's like I only want to experience it on the table, and I don't want there to be people experiencing it digitally. That's got to be where I'm coming from, and I'm just trying to shut that out. I'm trying to turn that off.
Like real book versus audio book type thing.
Kind of, and I get what you're saying. Absolutely. Right. Because it's almost like, I mean, have you ever, I've never listened to, a record, but I remember when like CDs and then the whole digital revolution came, and there were people saying like, oh, it only sounds so good on a record. Right. I don't want to be one of those types of persons, but I also,
I'm one of those people. There's one of 4 record players I own.
Yeah,
just there.
But the other thing though too is I don't want every trading card game that comes out to be like, oh, you have to have a digital client. Like you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And like I want there to be one that will come along and say, you don't have to do this to be successful. Right. So I don't know. I mean, I think it will be a good thing. I think there's going to be a lot of people who will like it. Will I like it? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that I hate it, but I get it. I don't like them, but they make money, and like you say, you can spend. Let's be honest. you can spend a few $100 on a deck. Like if you're taking it seriously and you want it to be competitive, you're going to be spending a few $100 at least on a deck.
Yeah.
And you get to play it once a week against the same 6 to 8 people that turn up at your game store on a Saturday.
Right.
Or you can grind the packs on the client and play it for 8 hours a day. Like, I completely understand why they exist and why they're popular.
Yep.
I don't like them. If they do it, I hope they go to the Pokemon route where every physical pack comes with an equivalent for the digital one. Like, I think that's really important. Magic do it a little bit. Like, some promo stuff has codes in for Arena, but for the most part, they're relatively separate. And now that Magic are even making it even more separate by having Arena only cards now, which I don't really know how I feel about, but
same.
I just
I understand why the suits like it.
Exactly. It makes a hell of a lot of money, but the meta is solved in a week as opposed to it being solved in a month like it used to be. We instantly know, like most content creators now get 2 weeks access to the clients early with a full, all of the mythics unlocked and everything. And
today. The early access event for streamers and influencers was today.
Right, so it's they get early stuff, and it's instantly what the best deck is, and so I don't think it's done great things for paper, Magic specifically. This is I don't think it's done great things for paper. Magic. It's killed standard. It's killed standard. Because standard is Arena for the most part. Modern and
that's a decision Wizards make.
Yes, exactly. Well, there was one of the Wizards, 100%. I forget who it was, some dev or somebody within Wizards tweeted a while ago saying
it was like a VP.
Standard's not dead.
Was that the guy who was like standard? We know standard's not in a great place. Any ideas why? And the comments were like, you
killed it. You took it out back, smacked it in the back of the head with a baseball bat, threw it into Arena, and then told everyone else they can't play it physically.
Knive has said this. I don't know how many times today, but standard killed standard. Yeah. Okay. There's a couple questions here in chat that are actually pretty good that I kind of want to get to. Steggy does mention spell table. I love using spell table for Commander. It's phenomenal.
That's a good hybrid of digital and paper, in my opinion, because I can sit down with my actual paper deck and play with Dan like we did like a week ago,
dude. It's the sick thing.
Is it just like a webcam
all you need
client?
is this. All you need is this. And there's so many people who just use their phone and they just get
phones have amazing cameras now, man.
What does it? What does it do? Sneaky said there. What does it do that Discord doesn't do then?
It actually has a program where it recognizes you can click on other people's screens and it'll pull up a card on the side for you.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I've seen streamers use that. I know I've seen streamers
really nice.
Like an overlay.
You can track
your life. You can put if you've got your commander, you can actually type in your commander and then you can pull it up without having to have the camera recognize what your card is, because sometimes that doesn't work properly. There's a lot.
It's a beautiful melding of the two, in my opinion.
It is. Alex has a good question, which we'll get to in a second. But I want to go back to Knive. Knive had a good thing here. And I've got some thoughts. I'm interested on your guys's here.
Good old pigeon over here.
Per a source within Lorcana, we have a good team that understand we want decks to evolve and change. We want some decks to appear and others to take a back seat. Fluctuation helps keep the game new. Essentially, this is a metagame conversation that we're basically talking about here. This is all, this statement is 100% in regard to the metagame. Now, what I think here is the designers have all of these intentions, right? And then you get through playtesting, and then you think how a metagame is going to look. They have no idea how a metagame is going to look. They have their intentions, but and again, I don't know. Okay, I don't really know how it looks versus like they'll have their intention and then how the meta actually looks. I would venture to guess that I think that it's a very small percent of the time that the meta actually looks like how the designers thought it was going to look like. That's what I think. What do you guys
think? For a brief moment, and then whoop.
Yeah, for a few days it does.
More
Yeah.
play
Like,
testing will have happened on the game by players before
Yes.
Gen Con even happens. That
Well, yeah.
never
Yeah.
happened
sure.
at the scout.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As I'm sure, as well
Oh.
intentioned as that quote is, like, what is that? What is that? Like, yeah, the game developer says their game is good. Yeah, of course they do. Right?
Okay,
Like
now
I'd be
hang on,
more
hang on.
interested if that
To be
quote
fair.
said, yeah, no,
To
the
be
meta's already
fair.
screwed.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I did not take that comment to say, yes, the game designer says his game's good. Anytime I see something like that, I go, of course they're going to
Sure,
say this
yeah.
is great. Like, that's obvious, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I think what Nye was trying to say was their intent in these cards is they want to
Yes,
see
of
the meta
course. It's
shift.
a conscious
They
effort.
don't
Yeah.
right. They're trying to make a conscious effort to not keep the meta game stale, right?
But
But
my
that
argument
opens
would
us
be show me it.
into- Yeah.
Well, my argument
All
would
right,
be show me a
hang on.
TCG game
Jonty,
that doesn't do that.
right. So Jonty, you're saying
Mhm.
try to show you a TCG that does not do that, correct?
Right.
Is that what you're
Yeah.
basically saying? Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sneaky, what were you saying?
Oh, I was going to say that brings us into the rotating versus eternal format discussion. What do we think that this comment does it lead us into either of those directions, or
Rotating, in my opinion.
Well, I
it,
think
it sounds
I also,
rotating to me.
I think I am interested to see if this is going to change within the first year. Like if they're coming out, I don't know, man. Sneaky, this is a good question, right?
Because I talk about
think-
the lot.
okay.
I have very strong feelings about which format I want to see.
Okay, well then you're going to go last. I want to hear yours last. All right, Jonty, what do you think?
I have no feelings about which format. No, I'm just trying to ramp it up. No,
I have small feelings.
I have very minute feelings. No, I enjoy a rotating format. Honestly, I am a standard player in Magic. I am a standard paper player. I know we are few and far between.
Yeah.
We our store has 60, 70 people turn up for pre-release. We have 40
Really?
to 50. Yeah, we're a big store. We are we're one of the largest
That's
stores
cool.
in Ontario. We have 40 to 50 guys every single Friday for Commander. Our standard night, there's 6 of us every week.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
if all
that
6
don't
show
surprise
up,
me.
that's great.
That don't surprise me.
I understand where the format is, but I personally really enjoy a rotating format. I like the fact that it keeps it
I
fresh.
agree.
I like the fact that stuff doesn't get stale. I like the fact that it doesn't come down to this one play set of a $300 card that you need. But I do think that if there is a rotating format, there needs to be somewhere else your cards can go when the rotating format finishes. So as long as they provide both, sort of current and eternal in whatever form that sits in, that's like at the minute I've just sold 3 copies of Wedding Announcement because I'm no longer playing enchantments in standard.
Wedding Announcement is such a good card, dude.
I'm not playing
Such
it
a good card.
anymore, so I've kept 1 for Commander, and the other 3 I've sold while they're worth $20, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
as long as I can do that, and that's okay with me, as long as there's somewhere for
Yep.
the cards to go after Standard, and they don't just go into a box and sit on the
Yep.
shelf forever,
Yep.
then I'm fine with that.
Yep. I like Organic Chemistry's point. We're getting 800 plus cards a year. How could it not be rotating? Yeah, I think so. Initially,
Is 800 a lot? Sorry, can I just say, because I've seen so many people comment
it's
that's
not.
not.
It's actually
it's
small.
not a lot.
It's below.
not a lot.
It's below
Doesn't
industry
Magic
standard.
average when they were only doing the 4 a year, or technically I guess it's still 4 a year without all the extra products.
Yeah.
Right.
But isn't it closer to 12 or
Sorry, I
1300?
Yeah, it's about 1,200. So a Magic
Yeah.
set's usually 300-ish.
Exactly. So yeah,
what I
these
will
are
say,
big
the standard
numbers.
sets have got a little smaller as the more ancillary products have come off.
Right.
So most standard sets are around 250 to 270 now with Magic. But yeah, Digimon is 200 4 times a year.
Yeah,
One Piece
easily.
seems to be the same. Pokemon is the same.
That's-
Yu-Gi-Oh is
yeah.
the same.
I'd
200 4
say
times
look-
a year is
yeah.
so
Low end
standard.
of average, really. It's
Yeah.
the low end of
Yeah.
average.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ravensburger is going to organic.
That's
I like
fair.
organic
I saw
chemistry
that too.
says 800 seems a lot if
That is
if
appeal,
you haven't
yeah.
done any TCGs.
I
before.
think
It's a
It's a roller coaster.
the Buster Scruggs meme where he's got the noose on him. He's like first time. Like,
Yes.
yeah. Welcome to collecting TCGs, buddy.
This is your life now. Get used to it.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
So I think I do think that Ravensburger is going to prioritize. They want to sell product, and I think the way you do that is you prioritize a rotating format.
Yep.
So I think they're going to have a rotating format off the bat because they want to push as much. I mean, it's business 101, right? You want to push as much. You want to sell as much product as possible.
Yeah, you get the
and
new
how do you
model
do
out.
that? What's that, Lee?
Yeah, you get the new model out as soon as you can. So
right.
yeah.
And I think especially for all of us like in the space, we understand that, and we understand it, but also we want the new stuff, right? So I think there's 100% going to be a rotating format. If there's not an eternal format like announced, like officially supported, there will be a community made eternal format 100%. Like regardless, we're going to see it right away, even if it's not an official thing. But however, I do think Ravensburger will make a considered effort at there being an eternal format as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I think.
A
What do you
rotating
think, Lee?
format makes balancing easier. Makes the meta shift easier.
Yeah.
Sells more product. So I'd be surprised if that wasn't the main format, the big format.
Right.
But,
Right. Lee, what do you think?
As long as they don't shoot themselves in the foot with it, I mean, it should do well.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that?
Well, Magic the Gathering shot themselves in the foot. I mean, they didn't, but they did. They killed their own format with Arena, and as long as Lorcana doesn't do something like that, if rotating formats are main format, it'll do well consistently.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's so it's interestingly. So when I started playing Magic was around Dominaria. When Dominaria came out, that was when I started playing Magic, and I was only playing Standard. Okay, and I would build a bunch of different decks, and then new sets come out. I'd be playing a lot of Standard. I had a ton of fun. I remember playing a red white green list with Sunbird's Invocation, and having so much fun just plopping these cards down, and then okay, I can cast that for free. But the number of people who were playing Standard would just dwindle, and then everybody's playing Commander, right? And then that was why I got into Commander. And dude, I love Commander. Commander's so much fun, but there weren't a lot of people left playing Standard, and there's still not anymore. So
it's Jonty really, and 5 other people.
Yeah, that's it.
That's Standard.
We're the Canadian League.
Well, that's that goes into what I want to talk about is, you know, like everyone else sounds. I'm a big rotating format fan. I don't like Eternal I don't have too much more to add because Jonty hit it like on the head earlier. But one of the big things, because I've been doing some research lately into like Pokemon and like why its secondary market is so different from everybody else's and why everything's so cheap. And one of the big things beyond just making staple products available to everybody and then their whole like people cracking packs for ridiculously rare stuff and just selling everything else off is the fact that in their tournament scene, they have gone to just Standard, which is the complete opposite of what Magic has done. So Pokemon has removed all Eternal formats from their tournament circuit, whereas Magic has removed Standard format from all of their tournament circuit, and it's all Eternal. You can't even play it as a store championship anymore. The only place you can legally play Magic Standard is Friday Night Magic. Outside of a casual thing.
Yeah.
I thought in the Pro Tour isn't Standard. It's Pioneer now.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's Pioneer.
Everything is Pioneer.
The Canadian RC is Standard. And I'll be honest, it's what's made our Standard night be 6 people and not 2. Like genuinely, for like the last year or 2, there's been me and a regular called Pete who comes in. And the 2 of us just play a few games of Standard on a Tuesday, and one of us takes the foil promo and one of us takes the non-foil promo, and that's the Standard night. And since the Canadian RC was announced to be Standard as well, we've had a few people turn up. But yeah, I'm just gonna have a look. I have Event Link here. And I'm going to see what I can actually run as a Standard night Like, or is it more I can actually pick as the format?
Okay, so as you do that, Jonty, I've got the Mirrorverse trailer here. Okay, I want to let me. I'm gonna pull this up real quick. Okay,
I want everyone who's watching this will make you feel bad about the Lorcana.
I don't want to get copyright struck here. So,
legend speaks of a fateful stellar
can you guys hear that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool.
collision, creating a bold new universe and forging the mighty stellar mirror. Boundless in
Okay.
power,
I mean, already it's like
disastrous in the wrong hands. Fearless guardians protect
huge
this bridge
upgrade.
to many worlds.
That looks legit. With
Look
Scar.
at that, man. Scar's a badass.
Whomever controls this gateway.
Yeah, I'm hoping we see Scar too. That'd be nice in the first chapter.
Oh, 100%. I mean, if we see Simba, I think we're gonna see Scar.
He needs his foil.
Stellar
look, they're on the
magic
same team.
rewrites the destinies of the
I mean,
dark
holy
ages.
cow! Like this is already. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, if Mirrorverse did that, then what's the excuse, Lorcana?
Right.
I'm kidding.
It's
Anyway.
different mediums, like
Yes.
this,
It is,
I'd
and like I
say,
say,
I would
it is.
expect more from this from a video game rather
It is
than the storybooky
Be-
type.
correct.
I mean, I don't know how how it's all set up, but like they have the models, right? Like the game has made the 3D models, so can they use those and like make them more high def for the
Right.
trailer? I don't know
Right.
how it works, but
Right. All right. Lee's got to get out of here. So, Lee, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. You boys have a fantastic night. As always, it was a pleasure.
always a pleasure,
All
buddy.
right, sir.
Yes.
All right.
ya.
We'll take it easy and we'll play some Commander again
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
later.
So store championship at the minute. I can do a booster draft, I can do sealed, or I can do pioneer. And that's it. They're the only things it lets me pick. So Pioneer is the only constructed format it lets me run as a store championship right now.
That's kind
Yeah,
of
there was a whole like newsletter thingy about that a couple weeks ago. Press release. Yeah, that. While we're on the topic of like store stuff, Alex here was saying, you want to pull up Organic Chemistry's response to Alex about the low print run, because that's different from what you've heard from your distributors, Jonty. So I want to see if you had anything to say about that.
Which response, Sneaky?
Organic Chemistry's at Alex. I think the company said they are definitely consider that, but I've also heard they're planning a smaller first chapter print, which I'm definitely concerned about it.
So there was a thing that went around a little while ago that said that US stores were going to be able to order $500 worth of Lorcana, which is nothing.
What?
Right? Don't panic.
What?
Don't panic. It's fine.
I'm not panicking. I just hold that's insanely low.
Which is nothing, right? Like even at like cost, like even if you consider that to be cost, it's still nothing.
That's nothing. That's literal nothing.
So
it's a case.
But it came from it came from a retailer group that I'm in, like a North American retailer Facebook group. It's like just like like an advice and chat group for store owners and store managers and stuff. It turns
We're
out
rioting. We're rioting.
It turns out the person who heard this from their distributor was a brand new store that had just signed up with the distributor, and the distributor has put in place this rule so that because they had a huge problem with Pokemon with these like pop-ups, these stores signing up and ordering loads of Pokemon. It was actually just a couple of guys got together and put some money up for stuff. So so it's an attempt to stop sort of scalping and and cutting out the middleman. So
well, it's interesting because when Jim and I started looking into distributors, because I mean, as a lot of people know, like one of our goals is to open up our own store here. and looking at distributors, because part of it is you got to do a ton of research, and we know distributors is a thing, right? And so we looked into it, and then a lot of these distributors that we found, in order to even get signed up, you had to basically be verified that you have an actual brick and mortar store.
They want an address now, yeah.
They were like, we need an address, we need pictures, we need actual proof that you guys have an actual store, and that this just isn't somebody just randomly signing up to do whatever with the product.
Yeah, so that is all off of the off Pokemon. That's all because of Pokemon. It's actually all because of like COVID Pokemon. Like this,
it's all because of Logan Paul.
There was a huge thing. Yeah, like that's genuinely where that's come from.
Yep.
I don't think it's a terrible thing. I think
these stupid influencers.
I think having them. I think having you needing an actual like already set up store is maybe going a little too far, because you've got the whole chicken and the egg thing then, right? Like, when do I open the store versus when do I get the distributors or whatever? So
I'd like to have product, yada.
Yeah, or at least knowing going to be able to get product, right? So you want to be able to have those accounts in place. But yeah, having a business license or having depending on your state or whatever, or the country, having the paperwork that says yes, I am an LLC and this is an actual thing and not just me in my basement trying to hold us.
I mean, so B Squared, there's plenty of ways you can start without distributors. You can do it, and it's just it makes it a little bit more difficult. It's just
and also are cheaper than distributors.
A lot of the time it is.
Not wrong.
Many times over the last few years, the number of times that we've bought D&D books from Amazon because they're cheaper than our distributor sells them for.
Wow.
Yeah, we often do that. Yeah, we often do that. So you can definitely get stuff, and obviously certain distributors are more lenient than others, and some distributors will sign you up and say you can buy stuff with us, but you can't buy X, Y, and Z lines. That's a very common thing. Like one of the distributors we're with will not sell us Pokemon. Like full stop. Like we just can't. If I type in Pokemon, it's just there's not even a bar to press order, right? Wow. So certain distributors have tiers within their system for stores. So there's loads of different ways to get started. But saying all that, I have spoke to I spoke to both distributors in Canada that we deal with who are stocking Lorcana, and both of them have said, yeah, just tell us how much you want. Like we can't promise it, but there's no limit at the minute currently. So you tell us what you want, we'll do our best to get it to you.
Yeah. Well, the reason I wanted to address like that question to you is because you've said previously on the Discord that you talked to your distributors and they'd said that Lorcana had been talking to them and something along the lines of they're expecting to print as much as the industry standard for print.
Yeah, so this was I probably can't.
Don't say anything.
Okay.
Don't say anything.
So one that would incriminate you for anyone else.
So here's the thing, right? You can there are 3 distributors in Canada. One of them is La Distributeur that we don't deal with, obviously. One is the French Canadian distributor. They deal with the French product, and then there are 2 others, and both of them we deal with. One of them said Ravensburger have been in close contact with them and has basically said, how much magic do you buy? Because that's how much Lorcana we want to give you, is basically what they've said.
Gotcha.
And obviously the distributor aren't able to give them that information, but they've been able to work back and forth to kind of give them rough ideas. Whether or not they're going to meet that is a complete other matter. I've got no idea where this stuff's being produced or how it's being produced, but yeah.
I think Ravensburger's probably they have expectations, and I think they have very high expectations, and I think those expectations are 100% justified. I think basing the initial sales off of Magic, probably not a bad place to start, to be honest. You gotta shoot for the top.
One of the people covering London said that they're expecting Lorcana to take the number 3 spot in the US by the end of the first. year.
Yeah,
We're
that's
crazy.
So
That's
I wouldn't be
crazy.
surprised.
So I was at Toronto Toy Show the other day. Lorcana didn't have a presence there because Ravensburg and North America are like a redistribution angle. It's a weird thing. Like Ravensburg aren't distributing it in North America. That's going to other hobby distributors. So the Ravensburger stand had nothing about Lorcana. And I ran over to them. Like when I got there, I ran over because the London Toy Show had just had their thing, and there's people with the pins and stuff. And I was like, "Is there no Lorcana?" And they're like, "We're not allowed to talk about it because it's being dealt with through other channels." Like there's got to be so many layers of legalese going on in this sort of stuff, Like so, I was like, "Okay, cool, whatever." But the few people I spoke to there who are going to be dealing with Lorcana were all like, "Oh God, yeah, there's no way this isn't going to be third." In sales. Now, what that means for actual playtime and whether it gets into people's hands and gets into stores and actually builds a scene is I don't think we're going to know that until it happens.
But does that even matter? Like, does that matter to the suits?
No, of course it doesn't. God, no.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
one guy could buy
Magic
everything.
Wizards has 100% proof that does
absolutely.
not matter.
So B Squared makes a comment, says in his opinion they've got to be so confident in their gameplay to be making statements like that. I don't think they do. I think they just need to be like, look, it's Disney. Do you see how massive this
that's
IP
that's
is?
the thing. This isn't Ravensburger aren't saying they're going to be third. The guys who sell the stuff are saying they're going to be third. And they are purely basing it on the fact that this is, from what we've seen so far, at least a comparable game, right? You know what I mean? Like it looks like let's be honest, it looks like a bit of a Magic clone. Like it looks like it's gonna play fine. The fact that it's gonna play fine and it has Disney on the box is enough that it's just gonna sell out. And to answer your other point, are they gonna print enough? No. The first set will 100% sell out. 100%.
Yeah. And also, like, we have to consider there's a huge gap between 3 and 2.
Yes,
huge
massively.
Gap.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What are you saying, Sneaky?
So sales wise, there's no way Yu-Gi-Oh is anywhere close to Magic
not
or
in the US.
Pokemon.
Not in the US.
No, not in the Western. Not in the Western world. No.
No.
I reckon it's probably.
And that's partly our reason when we talked about in our podcast where we said Lorcana potentially being the top 4. I think in the US, Lorcana can squeak by Yu-Gi-Oh. Because of the brand alone.
I don't think it's going to even be a competition. I think it's going to go into third easily in the West. I think Europe is going to be the same.
Right. In the East will be very interesting because in the East, Magic is not as big as it is here.
East is its own whole market. There's
different.
There's dead card games there that people are still playing like crazy. Like it's it's
like Force of Will is huge.
Yeah,
Force of Will is huge. In Japan.
Although White Swartz has just had the Disney 100 set come out, so I don't know really how like Western card games do over in the East. It's not something I really read up on, but like Mickey Mouse is pretty big over there, right? Like the IP still spreads there pretty well.
Yes. Correct.
So I think that's going to be fine. The one thing I will say about how it does over here is that oh god, I completely lost my train of thought. Forget it. I've completely lost what I was going to say. Sorry.
Train of thought is derailed.
Organic Chemistry says Harry Potter TCG, not in a million years. I would be amazed if anyone is going anywhere near that license anytime soon.
Well, I think there is. I think there is
the new video game is like.
But you've got to think that video game was greenlit 5 years ago.
The Harry Potter trading card game, there is a Harry Potter trading card game. It's dead.
Yeah.
But Wizards of the Coast made it in 2001.
But back when it released with the movies, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, it released alongside some of the movies, I think.
Yeah.
So here,
the only thing I know about the Harry Potter game is all the controversy that I see on the internet. I have no idea, and I assume it has something to do with J.K. Rowling Other than that, I have no clue what it is.
Yeah,
I just see
it's
people
the
are
whole
mad
like
about...
it's not worth getting into at 2 hours 20 minutes into this show.
Right,
But
yeah.
it's the whole death of the artist thing. Like the artist has very strong opinions, and whether or not we can break the art away from that it's that side of thing. But one thing I was about Harry Potter, there's a miniatures game. The miniatures are gorgeous. The game is terrible. But yeah, I so at the fair I went to last week in Toronto, one of the stands had the Harry Potter IP license, and they had a big backdrop, and on their backdrop was it had got like all the different IPs they had. That's quite a common thing, right? The backdrop just shows all the, because this is purely a trade show, so it was just come and look at us. People have been asking about Spider-Man. We're the guys who sell the Spider-Man shit. Like that's that's what it is. So all the big things.
Right.
The Harry Potter one was taped over.
What? Wow,
that's crazy.
That's insane to me.
That's the kind of level we're at now. So I would be amazed if we see any major, like this video game obviously was greenlit quite a while ago. Still think it'll do quite well, but I'd be very surprised if we see new Harry Potter.
Well, I think especially with this video game, you've got, and you normally are going to have this anyway. You're going to have both camps who are already well entrenched in their positions, don't care what the other camp says, and then they just want to they just want to beat each other.
Same with everything like this, right? Everyone's super opinionated. You're never going to change anyone's opinion. And actually, it turns out that that side and that side actually makes up about 3% of the people who actually look at the game. And 95%
everybody else
of the
doesn't
sales
care.
I've never even looked at Twitter and don't know anything that's going on, right? Yeah.
Right.
That's
right.
fair.
And like for me, I'm the type of person who, Jonathan, you talked about it's the art and the artist, separating the art from the artist. I think personally, as a society, I think we have to be able to separate art from their artists, or else how do we move forward? Like I think you can appreciate the art and then also look at, I mean, if the artist did something terrible, you can recognize both things. But it's, I don't know.
It's like I could talk for an hour on it, so I don't really want to start. But for the most part, I agree. And like, let's be honest, if you genuinely didn't support anything that was created by somebody who had views against yourself, you wouldn't do anything, right? Like people, you certainly wouldn't be buying things off Amazon or eBay, or you wouldn't be buying McDonald's or clothes because it's all made in third world countries where it's all terrible. So I get that, but then I also understand that you can separate the artist from the art because, but more often than not, that's usually a thing when the artist is long dead. You're telling me all of these Renaissance paintings didn't touch kids, like there's no way it didn't happen. The problem with J.K. Rowling for a lot of people is that she has come out and said that any purchase of her product she personally considers to be in agreement with her views.
She came out and said that.
That's the specific thing that most people have a problem with.
So I think she said that to dunk on somebody.
Yeah, of course she did. But that's the sort of sentence that sort of is it's all encapsulated about this idea that she has said that any purchase of her product she considers to be an endorsement of her opinion. Yeah, so that's where all this is coming from. Yeah.
So she straight up said, "You can't separate us."
Yeah, I'm not allowing you to separate me from my art. That's basically what she said.
Right.
Yeah, thank you, Organic Chemistry, for completely derailing the conversation.
Well, and there have been other artists who said basically, like, if you don't agree with me, I don't care. I don't want you listening to my music, right?
Yeah.
So it happens all everywhere. Right? But
But one thing I will say is, isn't it interesting that you're asking there, Harry Potter TCG when? And there's been one, and I didn't know. And this is my industry. And I didn't know. That was before I was working in this industry, to be fair. But there have been Disney trading card games before, right? Like,
yes,
this stuff comes and goes. Excuse me. I think this is probably the best chance they've had. This is the best hit they've had. But the TCG market is one of the most difficult markets to get into.
And I've every time on our podcast, I'm trying to get a lot of different people who've been in the industry for a while. And I've got quite a few interesting conversations lined up. And one thing, especially if I know someone who's been in the industry for a while, I always try to ask them. I say, let's wind the clock back to the late 90s, early 2000s, when every single IP came out with a card game because they saw the money, and most of them sucked. Most of them were terrible. But why did they do it? Because all they saw was dollar signs. They saw the dollar signs and they were like, oh, we need our own. And they sucked. Now, fast forward to where we are now. Okay, not all of them, obviously, but now we're seeing a lot more. I talked with Ridge, the guy who created that Alpha Clash, the indie TCG. What I am noticing is, yes, we're starting to see a lot more card games, but man, a lot of them are really good. Like the mechanics, like they've seen what works. And I feel like game designers have gotten a lot smarter over the years. Not to say they weren't before, but there has been a lot of knowledge that has been gained in this short amount of time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really good stuff. And I think that's such a good thing for competition.
It's not a cash grab anymore. It's like
the cash is there. The cash is there to be had, but it's a really, really tight competition now, and a good competition.
I like the term you've used a few times tonight is the suits, and I like that. And I think the thing that's changed over the last, probably only the last decade, honestly, is that the suits have realized that they need to let this be in the hands of people who understand it.
Yeah.
And that's where the money comes from now.
Right.
And I think if we go like, so let's use like Star Wars, for an example. The cash grab is the more recent trilogy, right? And it's flashy graphics and bringing back the old stars, and hey, look at this, it's the Millennium Falcon again, and hey, look at this, it's Chewbacca's back again. And they don't like critically do very well, and therefore even though the movies did quite well, nobody's buying Rey dolls, like
Raid Shadow Legends.
So that gets like dried up.
Hashtag not sponsored.
But then you get the
Watching have a sponsor invitation in your email tomorrow.
So good. You just clicked up some computer in Russia just started flashing.
I will go cash that check tomorrow.
But then you get the other side of things where the suits have kind of allowed the creatives to do what they like with it, and you're creating things like Rogue One, and you're creating The Mandalorian, and you're creating Andor, and you're making content that actually has some heart to it and actually has some consideration to it, and that's the stuff that is sticking around and is there's a long tail on it, and is actually over the time is generating the revenue. And I feel like that's what we're seeing in things like trading card games now. Like, do you remember the Austin Powers card game in the 90s? Right, like you say, they stuck everything onto a card game because Magic, that's a big thing. What is it? Card game. Let's make a card game. What they didn't do was actually look at why Magic was successful, because it's actually a competent game and is actually fun to play and makes people engrossed and endorsed in the product.
One of the things that I'm very interested in is I want to sit down. I want to have a conversation with Richard Garfield, the original designer of Magic the Gathering, and then see, because I mean it was part of his original design, right? And he's created a plethora of amazing games over the years, not just in the TCG space, right? So I'm very interested to see if he ever could have imagined where Magic is now, and if he's, I mean, the only thing I could think to ask is like if he's happy with where they are, like, and I feel like just like as the success, not necessarily like what they're doing business wise, like that's a whole that's a kind of separate thing. But like if he could have ever imagined like the success of these types of games could have, and he clearly had a pretty big hand in it.
Is he still involved at all now? Like
with Magic?
Yeah.
Not really.
Like I imagine they keep him on as like a consultant or something. Maybe he pops his head in the door every now and again, or
I don't think he does much with
No.
Wizards of the Coast.
No.
He has his own other projects that he continues to work on.
I played Mindbug. I played Mindbug last year.
I've
That was
got
one of
that.
his
I've got
recent
that
ones.
over there.
Yeah, it's kind
I
of
haven't
cute.
sat down to play with it yet, though.
Cute. I still say, as a huge Magic fan, like, you know, play Magic for years, have boxes and boxes of it over there. I still say Robo Rally is his best work.
I've got stuff over here too.
Oh, look at that's tie. That's a sexy one. That was a double. Is that a double masters tie?
It is.
Yeah,
It is. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still say Robo Rally, which is a
I've heard good things.
It's
about
great.
that.
It's just it's a board game, and it came out a year after Magic launched. It was his difficult second album, and it's a board, and it's like a planned route. Like you play your cards down. I'm going to move forward one. I'm going to move right one. I'm going to move left one. I'm going to move forward one. But everyone does that, and then you all start going, and stuff happens and stuff. Really great fun. Really stupid, but genuinely, I probably have more fun playing Robo Rally than I've ever had playing Magic.
Yeah. Sneaky, I cut you off earlier. Do you remember what you were going to say before I so rudely interrupted you?
Oh no, you're fine. I was saying, like, and also, you know, just with the changes in technology and the times and things of that, is that individuals are a lot more empowered to be able to create this type of content now. You know, with Kickstarter and all that other kind of stuff.
Yep.
So now you're seeing people take these on as passion projects rather than some kind of corporate thing that has to come down. It requires so much investment. And so, you know, when people are doing something that they're absolutely passionate about, you're more likely to get better content, you know? So, you know, like the Alpha Clash person and
like Flesh and Blood was pretty much one guy, you know, at least to begin with. And I wonder whether the corporates have to kind of match that passion now. You know, because that's the thing that sticks around, right? That's the thing that makes a game really different. And I wonder whether that's it now, whether that's the thing that Lorcana can't just be a. If Lorcana came out in the 90s, it would be screen grabs of the movies.
Yes,
right.
And there are games still out that still do stuff like that. Like I think Versus System is a perfect example. That's not a lot. That I don't think any of that is original artwork. I think all of that is art from the comics, and that's not a dig, right? Because it's still a fun game, but it's not a trading card game. It's not a collectible card game. It's an expandable card game, right? And so that's one way you save on costs too.
Yeah, a lot of My Hero Academy's cards were screen grabs from the anime, but they're changing a bunch of stuff this year, and one of the big things is that it's going to be all original art, which is kind of cool.
I always feel like it needs to be now. Like it's,
I agree.
It's one of look how much Ravensburger keep telling us that it's original art and it's more art than any other Disney property or whatever.
Well, I mean that's huge because that's huge because that's like Disney's thing. It's like they're an art studio.
Yeah,
and like
I think I also think too. Thank you, Magic, because I think Magic the Gathering really kind of that's one of the things that is a big thing that they brought into the space is all the artwork. And like if you were an artist and you were doing fantasy art, you were probably working with Wizards of the Coast and working on Magic the Gathering or Dungeons and Dragons artwork.
Yeah, and they championed them from the beginning, right? I think even the earliest sets have the artist like on the card, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Oh shoot. The Black Lotus. I'm trying to remember that artist, but
the original guy.
Yes. He has since passed. He has since passed. And any of his artwork that had his signature,
Chris Rush.
Yes, Christopher Rush. There we go. Is big money. But
I'm not one to speak of the dead, but I didn't think he was that good.
Well, it's all. But the other thing too
I'm not a fan of Magic's art.
The other thing though too is a lot of that artwork though from those early sets is not in the. It's not in the same league as any artwork now.
Yeah,
It's really
ass.
not.
Like a lot of it is Richard Garfield's mates, right? Like and genuinely to begin with, it's
Is it? Is it
yeah,
truly?
he went around. He was like, "You can draw.
Wow.
Come and draw for me." Like, I mean,
Wow.
when I say they're mate, like they were
Yeah.
artists, but you know,
Sure.
like
Sure. I mean,
the
think
bar
of the
was
industry.
Yeah.
Think of the industry back then.
Yeah.
And like how small it had to have been. Because I mean, like back in the day, you had Milton Bradley ruled. Yeah, Milton Bradley ruled like the
it
board
was
game
Guess Who,
space.
and it was all that sort of stuff. Battleships and Guess Who, that was pretty much it, right?
And now it's so different. So different.
I will say that as much as Magic art has improved over the years, the fidelity's got a lot better. Just quality in general's got a lot better. There is something to be said about those earlier sets. I feel like the art was drawn for that size. And I think now somebody will paint a painting like this and it gets squished. And I think back then they had more of an idea that this is going on a postage stamp kind of size thing, right? But yeah, it's come on a hell of a lot. But
yeah.
But so far, I think the one thing you can say about Lorcana, arguably the one thing we know about Lorcana is the art is incredible, right? Like it's. I hope we see more. Nicholas Cole, as incredible as he is, I've been a big fan of him for a long time. Actually, he's a concept artist for the most part. There's a lot of video game concept art. His stuff is incredible.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see more. I can't wait to see some other people because a lot of the stuff we've seen so far has been his.
Ever since I started playing Magic the Gathering, right, and getting to see a lot of this different art, I've loved it. I have loved it so much. And in Magic, one guy that I've personally fallen in love with his artwork is Seb McKinnon. Anytime I see a Seb McKinnon piece on within Magic art, it is amazing. And so for this game, like personally, I haven't seen Nicholas Cole's artwork before, but I'm loving all this stuff. And like these types of styles, like for Disney, is more along the lines of stuff that I'm more kind of used to. At least again, nostalgia and just going back in my earlier years. And so I'm very excited to see like these types of styles and what we're going to see with the Disney IPs.
I'd probably put money on not seeing Seb McKinnon on a Lorcana card.
In fact, I made a comment. I don't remember when it was, but I was like, yeah, we're probably, because somebody was saying about how an artist reached out to Ravensburger or Disney and was like wanted to do it, and they said no. And I'm like, yeah, we're probably never gonna see Seb McKinnon do any kind of Disney art.
Have you reached out or have you looked in to see if he does those like artist cards that like Liam and them are a big fan of? You know what I'm talking about?
I would assume so. I haven't, but knowing Wizards
that's down to the artist. I think that's.
I didn't know those existed until he.
Yeah, I 100% the same. Until I saw the Illuminateers video on that, I was like, oh, that's a thing. Cool.
Yeah,
didn't even know that was a thing.
I think it's super cool. I'd totally
very cool.
I'm gonna butcher his name, but the Stitch artist, Siambalis.
Oh yeah.
I would totally love.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I would love one from him.
Yeah. Okay, one thing I do want to get to here. Alex Johnson asked a question: what are the biggest ways the card game could fail?
Oh, jeez, Alex, how long you got?
At least 2.5 hours, apparently.
Print too much of it. Print not enough of it. Make it too easy. Make it too difficult. Pretty much everything. It's a complete Goldilocks. Like they've got to nail it. The
pull
trading card
rates
game
and treatments and organized play and
they could mess everything up.
But I also do think though, with a name like Disney tied to it, they're going to be given a lot of leeway. I think this has pretty much been my line on this, is that TCGs is an incredibly difficult market to break into. Yep.
But if anyone's going to do it, it's the Disney name. Like if there's anyone who can have that higher that closer running jump start. It's Disney. I can't think of another brand that could get anywhere close to the brand recognition. I genuinely can't think of anything that could come even close to the head start
Coca-Cola
that
card
Disney
game.
got. Yeah.
Coca-Cola card game.
Yeah, Lego, Christianity. I don't know. There's not many. there's not much that.
Well,
that
isn't there actually like a because someone was talking about in the Discord a while back? There's like there's a card game that is like very much like Christian iconography, and like the cards and stuff are all based around the Christian mythos.
Oh, really?
I don't remember what it was. Yeah, it's
sure.
like an older game, but it's still alive.
There's a lot like IP wise. There's been a lot. Like you could,
dude, this, guys. Like seriously, this is.
Okay.
I should know this because this is like.
Well, this is your area,
now.
right, Dan? I believe you're a man of God, right?
And I've never heard of this. So I'm like, what am I missing?
No,
Medina. That does sound right. That Medina was the one that mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like I can't think of much. Like anything I can think of that even comes close to Disney as far as like the scale of the IP. I feel like it would work well as a Magic set. And that's as close as I get. Lord of the Rings this year. There's a Lord of the Rings Magic set this year.
I'm so looking forward to it.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be massive. But there's been a Lord of the Rings card game, and it's come and gone, right? In a space of a year or two. I can't think of anything where that's big enough to create a card game around it. When Jesus dies, returning to play in 3D. Yeah, there'll be a lot of graveyard recursion in a Christianity deck, right?
I shouldn't be laughing at that.
It's you have to enjoy it, right? But I can't think of anything that comes even close. I can't even think of anything that comes close to Disney. Like they easily have. And that's not even including Star Wars and Marvel, like just Disney property. There's years worth of stuff there.
Oh yeah.
Easily. So narrowing it down a little bit, what do you think it's gonna need? So like as a card game manager, what do you want to see from them in terms of support for you so that you can make sure that it succeeds in your store?
As in, like what they actually
from like an organized play perspective. Yeah, like whether it's like product or support or whatever. Like what would help you create a good meta,
good community?
A good community.
Yeah. So I mean, the obvious one is getting what we order, and like you'd be amazed at how much that doesn't happen. But yeah, just being able to actually get products into people's hands is the big one. I would love to see an app, not a play, not being able to play the game on an app necessarily, but just an app that people can sign into and register, and we can be seen on that app as a store. So Magic have this. Magic actually do a store finder. Magic have a really great store finder, and they also do a really great. So we're a Wizards Premium store, Wizards Premium Network store. So like we come
WPN.
Up like we're WPN, and we spend a hell of a lot of money on getting it, and we're very proud of it. Like anything like that is really good for us. And then just like stuff to give away. Just give us stuff that I can put into people's hands. You'd be amazed at how much that makes a difference. The welcome boosters that Magic do are crap, as in the actual content of the pack.
Are you talking about the welcome decks?
Like welcome, they do.
There's like 20 cards in it or something, right?
It's a packed booster, but they're always trash. There's nothing good in them, but there's the same in every single one of them, which is a good thing because it means that established players, entrenched players, aren't interested in them, right? Like they can go and Google it and see what's in them, and like I don't want any of that. But if I can hand over a free product, imagine walking into Walmart and then saying, "Hey, welcome. Here's a bunch of bananas for nothing." Right? Imagine going into a store and them saying, "Here's a thing we sell for free." It's huge. It's you know, it's a really big thing. So
Mhm.
that's the thing. And then obviously, and then prize support is the next one. So just give me good prize support, foils, you know, little extra packs with a couple of cards in. Nothing mechanically different. Obviously, that's a real red flag. Never give me a card that the only way you can get it is by winning or whatever. But
And they have said that they're not going to do that.
And they yes.
Yeah.
Look, Ravensburger have said they're not doing that, which is
the right call.
It's expected, but I'm still glad to hear it.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to. Let me just put stuff in people's hands.
Stuff.
Let me just stuff. Yeah, stuff. Honestly, that's it. The answer to your question is stuff.
Stuff. What about
because you go ahead, Sneaky. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, as a store, would you find like demo decks valuable, or would you rather just like pull a starter deck off the shelf?
I would personally rather sell a starter deck than give a demo deck away.
Because then you're making money.
I meant like not to give away, like just to send to the store so that they have something that they can demo like players with.
Oh yeah, so most that usually comes.
That was how I learned. That was how I learned Magic. Was I knew that was a thing. I looked on Magic,
I gotta
their website, and then they said that if you go to your local game store, they will give you out a welcome deck for free. And I'm like, all right, cool. I want to learn how to play this game, so let me go do that.
Yeah. So welcome decks aren't a thing anymore. Like I said, they have welcome boosters now, and it's like a 20 card booster that I could just hand out for whatever I like. But they still have the welcome system in place, and I have like a tank card, like, and it sort of flips over. Cards flip over like this.
I gotta see if he's gonna keep holding this.
And it.
Not you, John T. I'm looking. So we've got Knive in the green room. We've got Knive in the green room.
Get him in here.
Well, I want to see if he's gonna keep holding it. Is it? He's gonna keep holding it. I'm like, how long can I keep him waiting?
Are we?
This is not a drink meant for chugging.
What is it?
Is it hot chocolate?
Am I allowed to?
Oh, is it an adult drink?
It is adult strawberry milk.
Adult strawberry milk. Okay.
Are we not meant to be drinking on this?
No, you guys can do whatever you want, man.
I'm on my fourth rum and coke.
Yeah, you guys can do whatever you want, man.
I missed the memo. I should have gotten that on this.
Yeah.
But I completely lost my train of thought. Hey, Knife, how's it going, buddy? Did you win?
Yeah, how was pre-release?
It went well. First one I went 2-2. The second one I went 2-1. Just some bad draws and some dumb decisions, but overall it was pretty good.
That's okay. I would love to see a pre-release. I would love to see some sort of sealed
pre-release
format.
events.
Oh yeah,
sealed format in general. Whether or not that be draft. I'm not a bigger fan of draft than I am sealed, because draft is a bit of it's a bit scary to people. I think
it is
draft.
scary. It is scary to people who don't know how to strategize.
Yeah, but or even just like a newer to the game, like
newer to the game, exactly. Yeah.
Like the guy next to me
takes a lot longer.
It takes a lot longer, but honestly, in order to be, from my experience, in order to be relatively successful in a draft environment, you have to have a really good knowledge of the set.
Yeah.
Yes.
You really, really do.
Yeah, it's scary. It's a high barrier. A draft is a high barrier to entry. It's knowledge wise, it's a cheap way to play.
Yeah,
it's a cheap way to play.
Right.
But you're right. You've got to have an idea of the set.
Kind of cheap. It depends on how often you draft.
I mean, like for the night.
For the night. Right.
Yeah.
You buy 3 booster packs and you get to play for 3 hours, right? Like that's a cheap barrier to entry for the evening. Yeah.
Right.
I'm actually kind of hoping for. Sorry, I just received a message.
I don't feel like you're coming through your mic, Knife.
Wait, what?
I don't feel like you're coming through your mic.
I don't think you're. I don't think you're coming through.
Is it this mic?
Yes,
it is
definitely.
Yes, it's that mic.
All right.
No, don't.
I'm so
All right.
Stop.
There we go.
Stop.
There we go. We
Stop.
got you muted there.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sneaky.
But I'm gonna say I actually think that's what 18th is going to be. I think it's going to be a re-release.
The 18th.
Of
August.
Like release day or whatever.
I think
But
that's
what
what's
I
going
think
to separate the LGSs from like the retail.
I don't know whether we'll see pre-releases
Check 1, 2,
in like
check. That's better.
sealed. That's better.
Yeah, that sounds
You
better.
sound beautiful. I don't think it'd be like a sealed or a draft, but I think it might be like buy a starter deck and play. Like the One Piece pre-release was that it was you buy a starter deck and play with a starter deck.
So, Jonty, my inside source just referenced you.
Nice.
No
boy.
bananas.
Are they watching? Are they watching?
Can you tell them to follow me on Twitter?
Do they not follow you? Do they not follow? What? What crime? This is a crime against humanity. This is such a crime, ladies and gentlemen.
Like I hate to
as
be
far as
that
I'm
guy.
concerned,
Oh,
as far as I'm concerned, John T is the original Lorcana content.
Like
Honestly, dude, same.
I hate to be that guy.
Sneaky, I'm there, man.
I
I'm
hate
right
to be
there
that
with you, my
guy, but I am currently the largest Lorcana specific YouTube channel that exists.
Ah!
Look at me! I have all the followers.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it.
B Squared's coming for you though. The quality of B Squared's content. I'm like
so B Squared messaged me and he was like, "Oh, I really enjoy your content. You're really inspiration to me and whatever." And I'm like, "Dude, you're making me pull my finger out, man. Like, you're smashing it."
Jonty.
Okay, what is it, Knive?
I just pulled a magic trick. Check your followers.
Dude, share your screen, Jonty.
Can I do that?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, share screen.
But
Ooh,
also,
which one do you want to
there
see?
will be no bananas in organized play.
There will be no
bananas. No
bananas.
bananas.
No bananas.
No
bananas.
bananas.
The Walmart reference.
Bananas.
Bananas. What is this?
All right,
What?
Jonty, I do have your screen, so let me know. Let me know.
No, hold on. Don't show it yet.
Yeah,
because
you let me know.
I have like 6 Twitter accounts.
I just woke up my wife who's sleeping next door, and I just woke her up, and I feel terrible.
What did you say, Knive?
I just woke up my wife from next room over.
Hey, you know what? It's at least
Now
it's just
she's
her.
Okay.
Never gets
At
Okay,
least it's
you can
just-
show it now.
At least it's not kids that you got to worry about, okay? Because if my kids woke up, my wife would be like, "All right, that's you, my guy."
You're grounded.
All right, here we go, Jonty. So
As it should be.
All right, there we go.
As it should be.
There we go. That's funny.
Thank you, either Jessica
or Cassidy.
Cassidy, is that the two?
Yeah. All right, cool. That's
mysterious member of the Pigeon Army that has snuck into Ravensburger. Thank you.
That's funny. So
bananas. I don't know what the bananas reference is though.
When you're talking about Walmart, walking into Walmart and getting the thing of bananas.
That's what it was.
They said
now you got me
please
saying bananas. Oh,
bananas.
It is bananas. I will remind you that this isn't an accent. This is how it's supposed to sound. You know that, don't you?
No. Banana.
That's good.
This is
banana.
bananas, not bananas.
Banana.
All right. There was a question. I had a question, and what was the question? Oh, here. Wait. Steggy has a good question here, because the cards do have a magic field. I could see a starter deck only tournament as well. So Pokemon TCGO had an amazing format, which it was basically just that. You could only use one of their starter decks, and it was phenomenal. I think
it's great. Anything that puts everyone on the same playing field. So it's not the fact that you've spent more money on your deck. It's the fact that you know the game better. Exactly. I'm totally down for that.
Yeah.
Back to the limited. That's kind of why I like limited.
That's what we're talking about. Limited.
Yeah. I fully intend on being like the guy for limited in Lorcana, if it exists.
Listen to this guy over here.
Hey, that is what I would like to happen.
No, that's fair.
You already bought all your cube materials.
Oh,
He's got it right
Okay,
there.
so that's a yes. That's a yes.
I'd love him to come back and say no.
That'd be great. Wunderbar.
There it is. There it is.
Box 1 of 22.
22?
That's crazy.
I'm confused, but
22. You have 22 magic cubes?
No, I have a cube that consists of 22 boxes.
Oh, wait. Like, what size boxes are we talking about? I'm like,
my cube consists of 50,000 cards.
all right. Are we getting? Who are we getting?
that's not a cube. That's
the
a
feedback
collection.
from? Knive, are we getting a bunch of feedback from you? Is your headset turned up too loud?
Check 1 2 check.
Hello. I think we're
Yeah,
good.
you're good.
Cool.
But yeah. I'm messing. I have like 2 or 3 cubes. But like,
Okay.
yeah, I have like a bunch of those that are opened up for Lorcana or
I-
life. What's more important here, Knife? Oh, I am never going to answer that question.
Oh, I can. I'm divorced. It's Lorcana. I'll take that question for 200, please, Alex.
Oh, dude, that was great.
My 2-year anniversary is coming up. I'm going to play nice.
Congratulations. We managed 5.
Got married during COVID. It's wonderful.
Oh yeah.
That's good.
Well,
That's awesome.
congratulations, regardless, Knife.
For one, talking of loving relationships, for those of you who have kids, Dan, I know you have kids. I don't know how old they are though.
5 and 6. There will be 6
so
and,
maybe a
there will
little
be
young,
6 and 7 in April.
a little young for this then. But
I'm waiting for it.
I do wonder how many. Like I've heard a lot of Magic players, especially, say, "Oh God, I can totally get my kids playing this," you know. And I wonder how many people are considering Lorcana as like a gateway, you know, like an entry level for this kind of thing.
Yeah,
I am.
Yeah,
100%. Once they're the age, okay. Once they're the age, my family, my wife's family, they're very big Disney people. When I got married, we went to Disney World for our honeymoon, and I had never been to Disney World before then. Since we've been married, I have now been 6 times, I think, since I've been married.
That's concrete. The money's in concrete, isn't it?
So thankfully my in-laws have a Disney Vacation Club. So
there you go.
They have they help out a lot. I love my in-laws.
DVC.
Yeah. So and it's been great. And so that kind of I think that alone should tell you how much they enjoy Disney. And so Disney has been a big part of their lives for forever. And so Disney is a very big part of my kids' life, for better or for worse, right? And I know there's plenty of people who have big feelings. And honestly, I used
for the Satanists.
not even that. I mean, not even that, because like, bro, I'm talking about like, I mean, when we're talking about magic, like you talk about that word, right, bro? Like, the way I grew up, like magic was just not to be talked about. So Disney was very, very much on the opposite end.
Yeah.
Nowadays, a lot different, but regardless, okay.
Stories.
I mean, you and I could probably sit down and have a lot of different conversations
it'd be
about.
Wonderful. Yeah. And unless we came from like the same area, like, did you grow up independent fundamental Baptist?
Oh yes. All right. Yeah. So I know what you're talking about, and we could probably have a lot of different conversations.
That's what I mean by when I say I'm a cult survivor.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. So we can probably have a lot of different conversations offline about that, or even online later. But regardless. So anyway, like that's where my family has been. My wife just texted me and said, please don't yell so loud. So So
I'm just so happy there's another one.
sorry, honey. So anyway, so this is the perfect IP to get my kids into this. This is something I really do want to share with them. We've played. What was this? There's another Disney card. It was like a matching card game. Oh, Ring It On, Ring It On. And in fact, I'm going to, and I've told the kids that I'm going to do a video with them. It's going to be me and both of them playing this game. They're very good at it, and it's a lot of fun. So I want to do a video with them because they, in fact, my son asked me the other day, Dad, are you a YouTuber? I'm like, I guess I kind of am. So,
you've got enough equipment for it.
Yeah.
That's got the gear.
So that's something that they're very good at. And they love it, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm just waiting until this is something that I can share with them and kind of get them hopefully into sharing this with them, and hopefully they'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like this is the perfect vehicle because before this it would have been Pokemon. Like my son likes Pokemon.
Yeah.
But with something like this, they will be like, oh, Elsa, my daughter loves Elsa. And,
I would argue that sort of 5 to 8 year old age range probably don't care about Pokemon as much as people our age do, right? Like I don't know whether it's as big a deal now for kids.
Oh my word, guys!
I teach 10-year-olds, and I'd say 33% of them collect Pokemon.
Hey, real quick. Thanks, Knive. We were talking about the Twitter thing. They just followed my personal Twitter account.
Oh wow!
Well, what can I say?
I get his notification on my phone, and I'm like, Disney Lorcana followed you. I'm like, they already follow Hobbies and Happiness.
Is it
so
nice?
Like they follow my
personal? Is it like a usual suspects thing going on here?
I mean, there are a lot of people in Lorcana HQ that legit believe I'm in like part of Ravensburger and like part of their marketing team, and I'm just like the inside guy.
Yeah, Knives playing the long game. He's playing the line game. He was planted by Ravensburger.
We're gonna see him walk out of Gen Con and suddenly his feet straighten up.
No, yeah. I'm just standing there. I'm just at the booth.
It's like Undercover Boss. You ever seen Undercover Boss?
B Square, toss your Twitter handle into the into the chat there.
Yeah, B Square. Yeah. Hello, he's doing some good
I'm
stuff.
just standing there at the booth saying like, "Hi, everyone."
Anyone else?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So the reason I asked that question is because my kid loves game every night we play board games, card games, pretty simple stuff. Uno, Sleeping Queens, stuff that's based around a regular deck of cards, right? Because he's 5, he's not reading yet, other than his name and a few bits and bobs. So. I kept thinking, Lorcana, maybe this is the thing that I can get him into these. The more that comes out about it, the more I think, maybe this is actually a bit more in depth than I originally thought it was going to be. I think some of the mechanics that are getting shown now, I'm thinking, I don't think he's going to necessarily be able to follow a lot of this.
What is, because I know Magic the Gathering is for 13 and up, like on all their products. They normally say like 13 and up, and just on the boxes. Like that's kind of where I'm going with this question first. What's Pokemon? What does Pokemon say that their age is for?
I think it's 8+. I think
really
off the top of my head. But the thing is that age range, that 8+ means that an 8-year-old will understand the words on this card.
What's up, Cabled? Okay, what is it, Knive?
6 and up.
What is it, Knive?
It is PEGI 7, which is suggested as not suitable for persons under the age of 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that they can comprehend the game.
Right.
It means that there's no artwork they're going to be upset by, and it means there's going to be no words that they can't read.
Right.
Yeah.
With having kids, one thing that you learn very quickly is all children are different, right? My son and daughter are very, very different, and they both. My daughter has matured a whole lot faster than my son has, right? And that's typical, right? Most girls typically mature. Are going to mature a lot quicker, right? So I'm just waiting. Like I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna be patient until I think my children are at an age where they can at least understand and comprehend. Because like even when we sat down to play Ring It On, I'm like, how, like, are they gonna be okay? Like, is this gonna even be too much for them? Like, are they gonna be able to pick it up? And they do it. They're just not super quick. And like again, anytime you're talking about like strategies, that's a lot for kids.
Yeah, like they're not good at the game,
Right,
but they can play it. Right? Yeah,
right. And I think especially when it comes to kids, okay, the most important thing is that they're just having fun.
Yeah.
Who cares if they're good?
Yeah.
Who cares if they're good? Who cares if they're bad? Are they having a good time?
The thing for me is, can I give him something off my shelf, and like, can he feel agency? That's the thing for me. Like, oh, we're getting really freaking deep with this now, but like, can he feel like he's affecting the outcome? And it's not necessarily that he's winning or losing, or even that he's doing it well. Can we get one of those going on? But like does he feel like he's actually playing a part in this game and and affecting it? So there's a game I've got over there called Chronicles of Avil, and it's a really light dungeon crawler. And you have a character, and you can there's a bag with equipment in, and every now and again you'll reach in for an equipment. Oh, I got a shield, so now my guy has one more on defense. I reach in, I've got a sword, now he has one more attack, and that's the kind of base level it is, and it's enough for him to follow it, and he knows that the numbers getting bigger are better,
right?
And at that level of agency, he genuinely feels like he's moving forward. And I was hoping I would have that with Lorcana to an extent, but I feel like explaining to him what ward is, like, that's not going to go well currently.
Yeah, right. Yeah, any type of keyword mechanic stuff that's just going to be a little too much. But I mean, and that's why, like, when I hear Ryan talk about, in that interview, it's easy to pick up, difficult to master. I mean, that's been said for God knows how many years. Like, that's been said by so many.
It's a PR line, right?
It is. And I think as a designer, like that's always like your intent is to start there. And like, I can understand that. Like, I get it. It makes sense. But I think when we're talking about a TCG, like any strategy game, like on its face, like that already sets the barrier to entry mentally just a step above any other okay, that makes sense, Knife. It sets itself a step up above the other types of games that are out there. I don't know, what do you guys think? Sneaky.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There's definitely it requires a certain level of thought processing and the ability to plan that you only reach at a certain age level, and so that's gonna do things. I think technically the line is like easy to pick, but with depth, like more serious players or something like that. Which I'm not sure if there's any actual difference between that and difficult to master.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Like in my mind, that's like the same thing.
Yeah. But,
I don't know what's been said while I've been gone. Sorry, but one thing I will say is that Ryan has said a few times that the complexity is going to come from the card mechanics as opposed to the overall game mechanics, and I think that's really interesting. I think that's definitely something that I'm looking forward to seeing.
So when I heard him say that, what I thought was that's where it always is typically when it comes to TCGs, except in recent years with Magic, because it seems like with every recent set, it's here's a new mechanic. Oh, here's a new mechanic. Oh, here's a new mechanic. Here's a new mechanic, and you're now juggling 6-7 different new mechanics that that fundamentally shift how the game is played.
Yeah, like a small rabbit trail. Like the reason it's that way now as opposed to 10 years ago is because they got rid of the block system. The block system was kind of like a way to pace the new mechanics, specifically in standard.
Bring it in
hang
slowly.
Hang on.
And
Hold the phone.
Not
Damage on the
blocking.
stack? Damage on a stack, anybody? I mean, this is before
Yeah.
my time, but I still know about it.
Mana burn.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I was bringing up is like, so if you talk about like mechanics that are complicated within the base game, I mean, Magic Stack is right there. That is a complicated mechanic that is a part of the base rule set.
I don't know. Is it that complicated? I think as
First in, last out.
I don't think.
It's
yeah,
like,
I don't think it's that
Except-
complicated.
I think as long as you visualize it.
It's not first in, last out because you can interrupt the chain. Yu-Gi-Oh's chain is first in, last out, but you can't because you can't interrupt the chain. Whereas with Magic, because of the stack, you can change the order of how things resolve based off when you do things. So once things start resolving, you can then interrupt it.
Right,
Yeah.
but
That's where the complication.
It's still yes, it still technically is first and last out. It's
But
just when
you
it
can only
resolves.
add things to the top of it.
Right. Once it resolves, it's removed from the system essentially. Right. But regardless, it is still an extreme. It is pretty complex in the how it can be interacted with. But I think at its core, at its fundamental base level, it's a pretty simple system to understand.
But also like Magic's got 30 years in it now. Like, how is it not going to be bloated to hell, right? Like,
dude,
it's not a great
thousands.
comparison.
There's thousands upon thousands of different unique cards.
Mhm.
That's why, especially now, it's extremely difficult to properly play test. You have no idea how these new cards are going to interact in Legacy, Vintage, in every single different format. All you care about, all they mostly care about is like Pioneer, Commander. All right, cool.
I'll be honest with you.
formats.
I've been playing Magic for 10 years, maybe, like more for the last few. And obviously now I sell it and really pay attention to it.
Right.
And even now, the other day we played a game and I had to stop and be like, hold on, I need to work the stack out here. Because I got a thing that was dying. There was a board wipe, but I could tap the thing to make a creature. I'm like, so does that creature happen after the board wipe or before the
creature dies? But
it does, yeah.
Wipe, and then the board wipe happens.
But the fact that somebody, it depends how it resolves.
Exactly.
It depends on how the creature is formatted. But the fact that after 10 years of playing the game, I still had to go, hold on.
There's a whole YouTube channel on. There's a whole YouTube channel where like that's what they do. It's like
it's just the stack.
It's just he like gives a tier. I think he's a tier 3 judge, like scenarios, and the judge has to call when the when an illegal play is made, and like
dress down.
Or something. Yeah.
Dude, Knive, don't get me started on the whole dress down and Dryad of the Ilsean Grove. Why does dress down not take away Dryad? Well, Jim and I have talked about that for all the freaking time, man. Why does dress down? What's the specific ruling again? It's the if Jim was here, he would know. Son of a gun. There's one particular ruling. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, dress down's a thing.
So what are you saying, that like something doesn't lose its ability or something?
So yeah,
because dress down is things lose abilities, right?
Yeah. So let me. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. I'm gonna pull up.
You're welcome, internet.
Welcome to this Lorcana podcast.
Now we're going deep in the rabbit hole.
So while Dan's looking,
now dress down.
While Dan's looking, I'll take
Lorcana, I got them off your trail. You could do spoilers now.
While Dan's looking, I'll take the wheel for a second. We talk about like judges and stuff. If Lorcana come out with some sort of judge program, are you guys down?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
So my LGS, they do a thing called I forgot what it's called now, but community organizer.
That's called a thing.
Yeah, it's called a thing. A community
Oh
organizer.
yeah, thing.
Yeah, a thing. Yeah, and so I'm going to be this thing for Lorcana, and essentially what that means is I represent the store in all the actions regarding to Lorcana. So I'll be in charge of the events. I'll be in charge of pricing and all that jazz. And in order to do that, I'm going to need to learn the rules.
So you're a TO?
TO, tournament organizer? I would be, yes.
That's what I would call you if you were at my store. I would call you a TO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I have
back
a
in the
bunch of
day,
cool
Private
ideas.
Press had back in the day, Privateer Press had a whole community thing called Press Gangers.
They had press gangers, that's right.
Yeah, that they since gotten rid of because of a scandal with Magic involving something to do with state laws in Washington, if I remember correctly. And
this is a whole 3-hour podcast.
Judges not getting paid and something or other, and it was a whole thing. So then pretty much every company.
What a
just
fall
ditched
from
all
grace for press for Privateer Press, eh?
Get me started on them. If you see this Warcaster book right here.
Oh yeah, remember Warcaster?
All right, I've got the dress down thing pulled up. So let me show you this. Okay, so dress down is a card. It is 2 costs, 1 and a blue for an enchantment with flash. Flash basically meaning you can play it at instant speed for those that don't know. And has when dress down enters the battlefield, draw a card. Creatures lose all abilities. That's the thing. Okay, so it's creatures lose all abilities. Now the thing where this came into pretty popular, okay, is there's an interaction between this card and another card, and this was because of the modern format. So when I was playing modern, I played this deck, okay, not dress down, but the other deck. It was it's a land deck. I can't even remember the name of it, for crying out loud. But this other card, it's called Dryad of the Ill-Seen Grove. All right. Now, there's 2 abilities on this card. Okay, you may play an additional land on each of your turns. It shuts that off. Okay, but it does not shut off lands you control or every basic land type in addition to their other types.
Yes,
that's what it doesn't shut off, even though the card says creatures lose all abilities. Okay, now I think it says it on here, but I don't know. Because if an effect grants a creature an ability after dress down is entered, it won't lose that ability, right? Because it enters after it sees it. I can't remember the name of the rule, but there's an actual rule. It's layering. That's what it is. It's called layering. There's a layering rule that because of this layer rule, this card, Dryad of the Ill-Seen Grove, does not lose this because of where it falls in the layer.
So it's like Dryad of Ill-Seen Grove's here on the stack, and it gives lands every basic type.
It's not the stack. Like lands is like Dryad is all.
No, but like if you're sorry, not the stack, but as you're layering it, so it's here. So the layer is here, and the layer says that lands you control of every basic type.
Yeah.
So that happens here. And then that comes on top and says, this doesn't do that anymore. Okay. But these all still have it. Like it's kind of it breaks out of the layer. It's
right.
But you're right, it's goofy.
But if you think about it, it doesn't make sense because the card literally says creatures lose all abilities, right? So it doesn't compute, right? For someone just looking at the cards. You're like, well, it has this on it, it should lose it because this card here says it should lose it. So it's really
does it say gain? I think it's gain is the word that matters, I think, is the thing, right?
No, it says creatures lose all abilities.
No, sorry. The other one says
Dryad.
Gain.
Dryad? Yeah, no.
Nope, it says land you control are every basic land type.
Yeah, I'm working towards my level 1 judge, and I would totally rule that wrong. Because as far as I'm concerned, it would be gain because as it enters the battlefield, they gain it and then keep it, so it doesn't matter what happens to this. But the fact that it doesn't say gain, I would say that it would drop off again. So I'd have been wrong on that as well.
yeah. So I was actually playing in a modern tournament, and like the deck with dress down, like they were running dress down specifically, to shut down my deck. Goodness gracious, my deck was basically Primeval Titan, Valakut,
Amulet Balloon, Scapeshift.
It was Amulet Titan. No, I was not running Scapeshift. I was running. It was Amulet Titan, but no Scape Shift.
How dare?
How
Does
dare
it
I?
matter? Does it matter what order the enchantment and the dryad enter the battlefield?
Nope.
No, because
Okay.
they're both
weird.
state based effects, so it would just check every
talking
tick.
about this.
Oh, I love Scape Shift.
Scape Shift, yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
So
Why,
fun.
have you got all these to hand?
What's that?
Like every card we've
The
mentioned, you've been
magician.
like, yeah, here it is.
Hey,
I,
have you heard of gravitational
right now, I'm going through my. I'm putting together a couple commander decks. So when we started Hobbies and Happiness, I sold off quite a few decks, and I'm to the point now to where I want those decks back. So one of them is a Jund Lands deck, and then the other one is my Amara Selesnya tokens deck, and I have so much fun playing those decks that I needed to build them again. So I've got most of the pieces already.
Color.
What's that?
I noticed a lack of best color in Magic.
Which and you think that is what color?
I know it is blue. Because
No,
any
it's
arguments
blue.
are countered.
I want to build. I do want to build a mono blue list, but not gonna happen for a little bit. But because I don't have any.
But the rule is to
Spirits.
never sell any
Isn't
of
Spirits
it,
cheap?
because who knows when it's going to come back around.
Yeah, right.
Like the one guy I played standard with, he's been playing since '93. He had what was the card you used to get in Magic? The before premium was a thing.
I literally just threw mine away like a couple weeks ago. The
You get like
D something C.
the DEC or the DLC or something like that. The
Oh,
cards you
DCI.
got.
DCI card.
Yeah, like this guy's
DNSC.
DCI number's like 6 or something,
Dude,
right?
I-
Like it's like he's been going forever. And whenever
I'm trying to see if I have mine right
you're
here.
gonna try and find yours out, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But whenever like the standard rotation reprints like an old set of lands or whatever, like he just goes and finds his playset of them, right? Like he never has to buy anything. He's kept every single card that he's ever played, and he plays standard with these old ass lands, that he's just dragged.
That
out
is
of
my goal
nowhere.
for Lorcana.
My
My goal for Lorcana is to just have that.
I'm just gonna keep everything. I think, yeah. I'm just gonna keep it all because.
I know what it was.
DCI card in my old trade binder. There you go. Steggy keeps his.
There was a question. There was a question here. Sneaky, I'm muting you right now.
Sneaky's looking for his DCI cards.
Yeah. What is that? Oh, there he is.
There you go.
That's a relatively newer one. It looks like.
Yeah.
Mine was literally just like a rip apart piece of paper with a number on it.
There is. I'm trying. There was a question here that I wanted to get to. Okay, so somebody was basically asking, what are you guys planning on being? A collector, player, like investor? I'm trying to find that.
Yes.
Content creator.
Yeah, and that's my answer too, John. To like yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's my answer too. My answer is yes. I think whenever I buy 3 boxes, one of them is going to like be an investment, one is going to add to my collection, and one is going to be like giveaway creation stuff. Generally, maybe the ratios will be quite a bit different, but like once I get a play set, anything that I open, I'm either going to sell or I'm going to have like a giveaway.
Yeah. All right, so guys, we've been going for like over 3 hours.
That's not long enough.
One of the things that I do want to start doing is for this show specifically. When I've got Lorcana people on, is to kind of have it a little more structured, and we all know right now we're in a spot where it's slow. Like we're getting drips and drips of information, and it's pretty slow. Organic chemistry says we have.
Yeah, let's be honest. This week's news was like we got the flavor text on Aurora, right? Like, let's be honest. That's pretty much what we learned this week.
We got the flavor text and the rules text because that was Tuesday.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we got Aurora this week.
And we've learned that Ward exists.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So Cassidy Werner's in the
She's
chat.
like, I'm tired of watching y'all. I need to go to bed, so you need to go
right.
to bed.
I think
Cassidy, I know it's only 3 p.m. where you're at. I know.
Yeah.
3 p.m.
What?
No.
Is she in Hawaii? Like,
Maybe.
Like,
You'll never know.
Where the hell is 3 p.m.? Is she on a boat in the Pacific?
Japan. Like,
Yeah. I don't know what "and the artist" means.
We know
The
the
artist
artist
for
is Nicholas Cole.
the artist.
And the
Got
artist.
it.
No,
For
I knew.
Aurora.
I already knew it was Nicholas Cole.
Yeah, because Nicholas Cole's. Yeah.
Because she's facing to the right, and Nicholas Cole can only draw people facing to the right.
All right, I am gonna get so. All right. Sneaky.
You're not wrong, though.
I know not.
Do you have any final comments?
on what? We've talked about
anything before I kick you out.
It's been great. Thanks for having me on, guys. Look forward to talking more. That's all.
Yeah. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for hanging out, Sneaky. All right, Knive, do you have anything to add before I kick you out? Don't go anywhere, Knive, either, because don't go anywhere. All right.
Because you're getting a good talking to after
You're
this.
gonna get a good talking to.
I am so confused. Am I in trouble?
No, because our backgrounds are similar. I want to.
Oh, so I'm not leaving?
No, you are leaving.
I'm leaving, but
don't
I'm not
don't
leaving.
go to bed.
The show is finishing, but you're staying
Dude, it's
in the green
midnight.
room.
I need to sleep. I have nothing to do tomorrow.
Well, no, but we'll talk. We'll talk later. Is what I'm
for sure.
saying.
We'll talk about concupiscence.
Do you do you have any final thoughts? Do you have any final comments?
First off, I probably shouldn't have said that word, but I'm excited to see what happens. We're like 30 weeks from Gen Con.
Well, it sounds weird measuring it in weeks. This is like a pregnancy.
Yeah, it does. You're not wrong, man.
I nearly fell out of my chair.
Yep.
But
so, all right. Well, thanks for hanging out, Knife.
Absolutely.
We'll talk later, my guy. See you, dude. All right, Jonty. You have any final thoughts you want to leave people with?
Not really. A good week. This kind of info every week I'll be happy with, I think, now until we trickle into rules. Yeah. I'll say that I'll see you in a few because I'm actually heading to England tomorrow for a couple of weeks. So this is late here, but we'll be even later in England. So I won't be able to join you for a few weeks. But
no problem.
Yeah, I love what you're doing, Dan. I think Hobbies and Habits is doing a great thing, having people come in each week and just like you say, a little bit more organized may be good, but also I think it's pretty fun just to have everyone.
It is
spitballing,
and
because
I'm figuring out what I want to do because streaming is going to be a big part of what we're doing, and then how we want to interact with the community. First of all, good night, Cassidy. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate that. But Jim and I were actually talking. One of the things that we want to do, and I don't know if I want this to be a stream thing or just make separate videos, but one of the things we're all about with Hobbies and Happiness is community, right? Mm-hmm. And what we want to do is we just want to play games. So I don't know if you heard I think it's Jack in the Box, but there's like these party games like
Jackbox.
Jackbox. There we go.
Yeah.
Jackbox. So I want to get like the Lorcana people.
Oh, I'm down.
Lorcana creators and just hang out.
So they have the best one is called Quiplash.
Okay.
And it's Cards Against Humanity.
Uh-huh.
But you write your own card.
Knive, I'm 100% ignoring your messages. He's like, Dan, trying to ignore my messages. Like, yes,
succeeding.
Absolutely.
But no, it's a pleasure. Always a pleasure, Dan. Thanks for putting it
Yeah.
on, and I'll be here as soon as I can next time. I imagine next time I'm here, we'll have all sorts to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, man, have a good rest of your night, and then have a good weekend. All right, take care. All right, ladies and gentlemen, last thing that we're gonna do before I wrap it up here, I did promise. I did promise it. Organic Chemistry says Jackbox is great. You could maybe involve the watchers too. Yeah, I've never done it, so it is something that I very, very much want to do. And then, sorry guys, but we're gonna get some background music going here again. Okay, so real quick, let us, once I figure this out here. All right, cool. So, all right. So we're gonna cut over here. Sorry, that was a mistake. Sorry guys, give me 1 second here. Let me turn that off. Turn the key off. There we go. Now we can do it. Okay, cool. So this is what I got. This is what we got from one of the things we got from Alpha Clash. So I did. Yeah, we're just very close to 2K subs, Jonty. So okay, let me see if we can just get into this here. I don't know. I think I showed you guys the hats that were sent. Ugh, I've got it. All right. Oh my goodness, these are gorgeous. I think so. A lot of these are proofs. Like, look at this. Oh my goodness, look at that. All right. See you later, Knife. We'll talk. Don't worry, my friend. We will chat. But look at this, guys. Let me actually fix what I probably should just do is I have it on manual focus. Should probably fix that. Look at that artwork, and look at that. This is illustrated by Rudy Nerdawan. I don't want to. I'm probably butchering that name, but that is gorgeous. That's a gorgeous piece right there. And then we have Haven Bountiful Collector. This is a Kickstarter. It's a Kickstarter exclusive. And you know what? This is my first time using this overhead here a little bit. So one thing that I am noticing here is the text on these is very, very small. Haven Bountiful Collector says during your expansion phase, you may skip your draw step and place the top card of your deck into your resource zone. Engaged. If you did, you may still play a resource during the expansion phase. So this is a ramp. Wow. This is very nice. And then we have a pack. Yeah. I don't know. I'm actually going to try and I'm going to open this later. I'm going to open that pack later. But yeah, so these are the pieces that I got from Ridge. And then we also have, let me actually cut back here real quick. Hold up. Did we hit 2K, guys? Did we hit 2K? Let me your channel. Yeah, we hit 2K. YouTube Studio. Yeah. Hey, look at that. Look at there. Thanks. Oh, we're at 2002. Hey, thanks guys. Thanks everybody. Wow. Cool. Hey, look at us hitting 2K. Woo! Yay! Hooray! Cool. Thanks everybody. No, but in all seriousness, in all honesty, we really do appreciate we really appreciate the support. And yeah, Organic Chemistry, Steg, everybody. Yeah, you were all here. Yeah, when I noticed that we hit 2K. Yeah, so very cool. We do appreciate the support, guys. Honestly, could not do any of this really without you. And now that it's February, one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting our Patreon. I want that to go live this month. So hopefully this week we're going to be ironing out kind of exactly how we want to play that out. But yeah, that is something that is coming. So, but before, let's do this. So I think this is the graphic novel, the Alpha Clash graphic novel. So we'll see here. Don't mind. Oh, it is. Look at this, guys. Alpha Clash. Oh, did Ridge sign this? Awesome, dude. This is super cool. So yeah, let's check this out. Writing this so I'm on the short. Wow, look at this, guys. This is really cool. So says, thank you for your purchase. Myself and the Rising Empire Studios team are humbled to have so many incredible supporters like you. With your support, we have been able to launch this project out of this world. We are so excited to have so many of you jump in on the ground level of Alpha Clash and can't wait to see where this journey takes us. We promise you we will do everything in our power to continue to bring you high quality content for years to come. For me and the Rising Empire team, we thank you. Ridge Kiley, CEO, we're Rising Empire Studios, LLC. So it's a very nice note. And then if we take a look at the graphic novel here, let me get my water out of the way. So you can check out all this artwork. Wow, guys, this is beautiful. Look at this. So, I've talked about, earlier how I'm not really much of a lore person. I typically am more so looking at the mechanics, but this looks really, really cool. If you guys watched our interview with Ridge, you know that they're also doing a book, and I'm not sure if that's going to be for the next set or whatever, but this is really, really cool. And you know what? I think something like this really does help get players into the lore, especially in this type of genre. Really cool. This is cool. So really, really neat. Thanks, Ridge. Man, excuse me. But thank you, Ridge. Appreciate that, man. And then also, I think I showed you guys this already, but Alpha Clash, he sent us these hats. It's pretty cool. He's like, I'm here for the Lorcana comic. Yeah, right. You and me both, man. So, all right. I'm going to take Cassidy's advice. I'm actually probably going to do some other work when I get off stream here. But hey, thanks everybody for hanging out tonight. I had a blast. And like I was mentioning earlier, I am going to start thinking about how I want to kind of structure these streams and then kind of moving forward. Because I do want to be streaming, playing some other games as well. Like we've done in the past, streaming tabletop games. So we're going to be doing that as well in the future. But I had so much fun tonight. Thank you, Organic Chemistry. Super great. Thanks, Dan. Thanks everybody for being here. I had a lot of fun, and I enjoy bringing people on and just having a chat, talk with everybody, and then honestly hanging out with you guys in the chat. Awesome, Steggy. I appreciate that. Spell Table Commander streams. I want to do that. I just don't know how I want to do that either. But we can only stream so much, guys. And I am going to be talking to other creators about playing some Commander and then hopefully doing some of that stuff on stream as well. So I'm going to call it a night. Thank you, everybody, again for being here. Have a great weekend, and go get it. Go get it this weekend. Have a great one, and then we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody. And then as I figure out where the end stream button is, there we go. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video.